We worked with spies who were coming from apartheid.
Yeah.
Some of them, we knew them. But when you are in a war situation, you don't go back and tell people what happened in a war situation. Now it is the private investigator that says, Mr. Modipane, you are a target. They wanted to use you so that you go to jail while they enjoy this money. This money, the Ingo Colliery is not part of this shenanigans that they were telling you. Ingo Colliery donated the money to the Department of Education. Went in and I found corruption. The mother of all corruption in MTPA. One of them stand and says, hey, CEO, we must thank you, man. Hey, now we know why they made you the CEO. Now listen to that. I'm being patronized now. Now we understand why they said you must become the CEO of MTPA. We've just discovered that we don't owe those people. I said, what? You have discovered that you don't owe these creditors, this 110 million? Yeah, the majority of them we don't owe them. I said, wow.
Okay, we continue talking to Mr. Jacques Modipane. He has spoken to us at length about the formative years of the democratic government, as well as the years before South Africa was liberated, or rather, yes, was liberated. Let me say so. Well, we might debate that later of whether the reflection we really have a true liberation as a country or not. But before we continue the conversation, you spoke about being framed, the whole thing about the dolphin deal. You were never part of it. You were cleared, and many other cases where you were really framed while you were the MEC for finance. I'm sure there are many cases like that you survived up until today.
Yeah. Now, there are two things which you need to look at. There was nothing special about me. It was because of the objective situation in Mpumalanga. Mpumalanga has, in character, the law field is rural. And the bulk of the people are in the rural areas. Where do you find the bulk of the people in Mpumalanga? You find them in Bushbuckridge, you find them in Nkomazi.
Yes.
Right? Now, that characterization must tell you why I became a problem. Because during the formative years of the, when the ANC was trying to rebuild its structures after the unbanning, Bushbuckridge had many branches, many branches. At some stage, we were leading all the regions in Mpumalanga in terms of branches, and I was in the forefront of those branches. I was the face and the mouth of the ANC around Bushbuckridge.
And it wasn't in the ANC. It was a region on its own, Buhlabela.
Before even it became Buhlabela, it was during the illegality. It was just Bushbuckridge. Okay. It was just Bushbuckridge. It's many villages. And because of the role we played there, because of the crisis, in fact, Bushbuckridge had too many crises because you have people who resist overgrowing doomed and primitive belief systems. Your so-called witchcraft, doomed and primitive belief system. Your so-called ritual murders. Right?
Bushbuckridge, and then another area with that character was the Venda area.
Yes.
Those two.
So because of that, we had to come out of the underground to come on board to quell those killings about witches, killing witches, so-called witches, ritual murderers, and everything. And we led a program which was very, very hostile to the apartheid regime, to say this youth power, which was being used against their own people on the allegations that their problems are caused by witchcraft.
Yeah.
The sins of slavery, the sins of colonialism, the sins of apartheid. People who were not conscious politically, they were blaming witchcraft for the sins of slavery, sins of apartheid, sins of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we had to get out of the underground to come and re-educate people. The apartheid regime was not happy with that because they were happy to see black people kill one another. They used to call it black on black violence.
And do you think they played an active role in spreading those what do I call them?
Witchcraft
superstitions? Yeah.
No. It came as a result of the majority of African people are trapped in the belief that witchcraft is the enemy, is their enemy.
Okay.
So you have to have a political consciousness to understand that it has nothing to do with witchcraft, right? It has something to do with slavery, something to do with apartheid, or something to do with ignorance and everything.
Okay.
Our role as a Mpumalanga Crisis Committee was to say, people, listen, stop killing one another. Your problem are not related to witchcraft. That thing you cannot even explain scientifically. You can't explain scientific because it doesn't exist. Your problems are real. It's because you lost your land. The white man took your land. The white man enslaved you. The white man evicted you from your land. So you no longer have land. How are you going to become economically viable if you don't have land?
And I mean, it was taking the attention away from the real struggle at that time. Yes.
Yeah. And then the ANC said, get out. Some of you guys must get out of the underground to go open. I remember, I think I said last time, one of this MK guy when we were in Swaziland, he says, Comrade Jacques, we are sacrificing you. You may be killed in the process because the white man really wants to see this black on black violence continuing. So if you stop your people to kill one another because of witchcraft, the white government will go for you. And indeed they came for me, right? So that is why I said to you, I don't think there's anybody who survived assassination attempt like me in Mpumalanga. I don't think so. Maybe I'm blowing a trumpet for myself, but I don't think so. So it was because of the character of the rural areas, the way they were. People who are stuck in doomed primitive belief systems, and they believe that witchcraft is a reality. There's nothing like called witchcraft. There's nothing. It's because your consciousness is not elevated. You don't understand how complicated life is, and so on. So, to answer your question, I became an enemy because of that. Not only to the apartheid regime, to the spies who they planted into the ANC. And those spies felt that with me around, with the type of support that Bushbuckridge was bringing into the Eastern Transvaal, I was not going to it. So my name was enlisted to those the apartheid government to say, look, if you want us to survive here as your agents, there are a few people you must assist us and kill them, right? And I became one of those people, to the extent that all the assassination attempts, some of us comrades were part and parcel of those assassination squad, right? Because of that. Now, to answer your question, why you? It's because of that. There's nothing special about me. But the objective situation put me in a situation where they said, this one is a big problem.
And even after liberation. After liberation,
the apartheid regime wanted to place their moles, their spies strategically in the new government. And they did. They did in Mpumalanga. I can talk about Mpumalanga because I live here. I know they did. We worked with spies who were coming from apartheid. Some of them, we knew them. But when you are in a war situation, You don't go back and tell people what happened in a war situation. All of us, we got amnesty. And we decided for the success of the first phase of what you call GNU, National Government of National Unity, which was led by Nelson Mandela, we had to keep quiet and pretend that everybody was a revolutionary, while some of us were not revolutionaries. They were apartheid spies, and we knew that. And we knew that.
Yeah.
So I became a target. Now, and it became when I refused to be part and parcel of some people when they wanted to occupy the most senior positions. I refused. I said, I'm not going to be part of this. And I told you when we came back from Mafike, now the daggers were out for me. They were out. Right. There are 3 projects, which I must tell you why. The first project was Mafike. I did not do what they wanted me to do, which they thought that if we went to Mafike and I supported that, they would have, whoever wanted to get something from Mafike would have found it. And when I came back, they said, this Jacques Modipane must go. He's a threat. Right? I was never part of Dolphin. Dolphin, many people don't know that Dolphin was a reality in Mpumalanga. There was even a launch of Dolphin before the so-called promissory note. There was even a launch of Dolphin. Right? Until it became impossible for them to get money for Dolphin. And they wanted to pull me into it. I refused. I said, no, I can't. I can't because the framework, the financial framework in South Africa says that provinces cannot borrow money. It's only national treasury under national government which can borrow money. We cannot. Right? When the attempt to get Dolphin running hit the snake, they said, no, we can only finance you if the finance MEC signs this. And it was brought to me. I said, no, this can't happen. Why? Because we don't have original powers to borrow money. No. But here they built a trust. Mpumalanga Paksport then built a trust under Alan Gray. In this trust, they took very, very prominent, very strategic assets of Mpumalanga Paksport, and they put them in that trust. The intention was to seed this trust as a collateral to the bank so that the bank can borrow the money to build the offices of Mpumalanga Paksport. By that time, it was still Mpumalanga Paksport because tourism was still separate.
And the assets were game reserves.
They were game reserves.
Nature and game
And
reserves,
then they tried with the banks. The bank says, no, we're not going to give you the money. Yes, we see the trust, but go and get the MEC for finance. So sign this promissory note. And then I am visited by the CEO. CEO comes to me and says, no, sir, I can't do that because I don't have original powers to borrow money as a province. I can't. Then he went and he had a meeting with the premier. And then one evening I get a phone call to say I must report at the residence of the premier. One evening. I go in there. When I go in there, I find that the premier is not in the sitting room. I find Alan Gray, the CEO of Mpumalanga Paksport. And then he start talking to me. He says, no, we're here to talk about that document you refuse to sign. I said, no, I'm not refusing to sign it. I'm telling you that framework does not allow me to sign it. I can't sign it. I'm not being obstructive. Little did I know that the discussion is that I'm being obstructive. I don't want to allow the Dolphin deal to go through. I was not even there when this Dolphin deal was launched. I was not there. I was not there. So then the next thing the Premier comes in, then he started telling me, I said, Premier, I am not being obstructive. There is a framework, national framework from national government through national treasury that provinces should not borrow money.
Yeah.
I can't. Then he says, no, but help me to go and start negotiating and negotiating with the banks. I said, I don't have a problem with you going to negotiate with the bank, preparing that once you are done, then I'll take you and we go to national to go and talk to national so that national can assist us and get the money that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Right? That was the agreement that night in the house of the Premier by that time.
Yeah.
Then I go, the following morning he comes with 1-page letter. It's written to whom it may concern.
Okay.
Alan Watts Gray is hereby mandated by the MEC for Finance to start the process of negotiating for a loan which will be granted by National Treasury. So, that letter, I signed it. I think if I'm not wrong, there were 3 sentences there.
Yeah.
I was giving Alan Gray the opportunity to go and fish out support from the banks in preparation for the meeting which we were going to have with National Treasury to say, we want to build the Mpumalanga Park Sport offices. We need money. And we want to see whether the banks are saying they're prepared to give the money, but they want the national to support the state. That was the content of that debt, to whom it may concern. It had only had my signature on it.
But was it necessary to go to that extent just to build offices?
Well, it was not offices. It's a good question you're asking. Later it emerged to me that it was about a commission. They wanted a commission. For information, it was not to build those. It was a lot of money.
Yeah.
It went into $1 billion, if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, which they were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, but in that letter where I said, Alan Gray can go and test the waters with the banks. When he has done doing that and he comes back, he says, well, they are positive. Then I'll take Alan Gray and the chairperson of the board, board of MPB, which was by that time Dr. Patrick Maduna, who was not part of that process.
Yeah.
He takes that three letters. I think if I'm not wrong, there were 3 sentences there, which I signed on. He was the only person who signed that thing, to whom it may concern.
Yeah.
He disappeared with it. Right? The next thing, Sam Kronye, my advisor, comes to me and says, hey, listen, I want to show you something. So he shows me something. It's a promissory note signed by Alan Gray as a chief executive officer and Nico Kruchel as a CFO. And then we hereby pledge what, so that we can get the amount of 1.3 billion, if I'm not wrong. And then the trust is being seeded. I looked at this thing. I said, Sam, what is the meaning of this? He says, no, this guy is trying to source money from the banks, and they have built in a trust, and this trust, they've put in the assets of Mpumalanga Park Sport into the trust worth billions of rands, so that this trust will serve as a collateral for the money the banks are going to advance to Mpumalanga Park Sport. I said, well, I have to brief the Premier. He said, no, don't. It's too early. Don't. Give me time. Let me investigate. When you return, when you come back from Germany, we'll go and see Nigel Palmer. Nigel Palmer is the one who phoned Sam and said, Sam, I've got something I want you to look at. It's coming from your province. Sam went to Johannesburg to Nigel Palmer. Nigel Palmer was the CEO of there was a bank called the Southern Bank of the Bank of Southern Africa. Okay. Not the DBSA.
Not DBSA.
No, just a private thing. His name was Nigel Palmer. And then, so Sam didn't give me that. But I went to the Premier to go and brief him. I said, Premier, there is something which is happening at Mpumalanga Park Sport. This is what is happening. Now, I'm losing the date to say which one came first, which one came later.
Yeah.
One day I was driving to Johannesburg very early in the morning with my driver and my security. We're passing at Mpumalanga Park Sport offices now. There were no offices, there was just a bush.
Yeah.
I see earth-moving equipment, so they are busy there. So I asked my driver and my security, I said, what's going on here? They said, sir, but these are your offices. I said, offices, our offices, what do you mean our offices? They said, no, but these are the offices of Mpumalanga Park Sport. I said, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I was actually embarrassed to be told by my driver and my security that those are the offices of Mpumalanga Park Sport. And I'm at MEC, I don't know anything about it. Can you see the secrets?
Yeah.
So when I came back, I investigated. They said, hey, it's true. Somehow Nedbank has given them the loan. I said, I wonder how Nedbank gave them the loan without Treasury signing it.
Yeah.
Right? Now, at that stage, now I'm a danger now. Now I'm a danger. I must be eliminated. I must get out. Lucky enough, the elimination, I don't know why they didn't hit me, because they could have hit me, they could have killed me.
Yeah.
But it's not easy to kill anybody. Not everybody can be killed. It's not easy. There are two types of people on earth: spiritual people and non-spiritual people. Spiritual people, you don't kill them. If you kill them, you are going to carry a curse from generation to generation. Your descendants are going to have that curse going forward. So that's one thing. I'm giving you an answer to a question. One thing, it was the dolphin deal.
Yeah.
I have to be compromised.
Yeah.
Right? And then we went to Mafike. When we come back from Mafike, I have committed another crime.
Yeah.
Of not wanting to support the process. Somebody wants to want a strategic position in there. I refuse to support it. Then comes in the issue of the government complex, which I was given an instruction to save money for 3 financial years to build those offices. It was another struggle which caused a lot of problem for me because those certain individuals or certain politicians who were coming from the high field wanted Witban to become the capital city of Mpumalanga, right? And they wanted to go and fight up there. Yeah. I was opposed to it, and I thought that I was not the only person who was opposed to it. And I must confess, I worked very hard to make it a point that the government complex is built in Nelspruit. It was a war which alienated me and other people. Yeah. Now, but what became more dangerous was when companies wanted to build these offices. Some wanted to build, they had land, they want to build. And I was made the chairperson of the political committee for the government complex.
Yeah. But why would what was the issue here? The office being in Witbank. Why such a big fight?
We're human beings. We're human beings. You want things to come next to you. I mean, you know Malawi. Malawi, the capital city of Malawi used to be called Blantyre. That's why you call those people Mabrata. Yeah. But when Dr. Kamusi Banda became the president, he took the capital to his village in the Longwe. Yeah. Because he wanted that capital in his village. Hey. That's how a villager thinks. A villager is
and there's quite a lot of development there.
Yeah. So some people wanted to go to the Highveld, but unfortunately ANC, when they conceived that the capital city of Mpumalanga should be in the Lowveld, it was an objective decision because informed by research. The bulk of the people are in the Lowveld. Right? Remember, the Highveld attracted people because of minerals, coal, everything. People are coming from Natal, Eastern Cape, Zimbabwe, Malawi, everywhere to go in there to congregate. But the bulk of the people are in the Lowveld. Yeah. So that's why ANC said
those people were in transit.
And the distance from Witbank to the capital city, national capital city, Pretoria, is just 100 kilometers.
Yeah.
Right? So why do you want to go and build it there? Why don't you go take it, the capital city, to where the bulk of the people are? That was the thing of national. That decision was informed by research. It was referenced. So those comrades, those individual comrades were not very happy. They wanted it to go. To the extent that when they discovered that I was saving money to build the government complex, a big war started to say, no, that money must go and build schools and clinics and everything. They were dressing their interests like that. But actually they were saying, no, we want this capital city to go to Witbank, where there is the Reach now. You know where the shopping complex, the Reach, And the argument was very strategic. They said, but why don't we go and occupy the office of KwaNdebele government, Bantustan? Because those offices of KwaNdebele, Bantustan, they were opened in 1994. Just when we started the government, the offices were inaugurated. So they said, let's go in there. But the people of KwaNdebele refused. The comrade from KwaNdebele says, no, even if National can say, the new government is coming and operate from here. No, because we won't feel free. It will be like we're still in a Bantustan. And KwaNdebele, fortunately, again, by that time, there was still, argument as to whether they want to go to Mpumalanga or Gauteng. Originally, they wanted to go to Gauteng. They didn't want to come to Mpumalanga. And it makes sense from people of KwaNdebele because they're right in Gauteng.
Yeah, they are right there.
Yeah. So, but national government forced them, and the excuse was to say, we don't want traditional leaders in Gauteng. It's an economic hub. It must be protected against the traditional leadership. Yeah. So then they got stuck in. So that was also a problem because I was pro that the government complex must be in Nelspruit, right? Then there were people who wanted to pay bribes and who thought that if they approach me and they promise me bribes, I will give them the tender to build a government complex. And these are big names in South Africa. I said, guys, let me tell you something. I am just the chairperson of the political committee. I don't have original powers to give you the tender to build the government complex. I don't. This committee received results from the technical committee. Then everything is taken to the executive council. It is the executive council who is going to take the decision on how, and it's going to go on a tender, right? And that too made me an enemy to politicians who believed that if they send to me and I start working for this person to get the tender, then I will share with them that corrupt loot, and then but when it hit, it's going to hit me. It must hit me, right? And I saw it coming. You see, it's very nice to be spiritual because you can see when you're going into a net. But people are not spiritual. They don't realize that they're going into a trouble because you are not spiritual. You don't see these things, right? The third thing which created a big problem was Maputo corridor. Where a black consortium was formed. And they wanted me to participate in the black consortium. I told one member, I said, tell them I don't want to be part of it. I refused.
So that consortium was private individuals?
Private individuals, majority of them ANC leaders.
Oh, so they wanted to have a stake.
Yeah, they wanted to get this, the tender of Maputo corridor.
Oh, yeah.
And they wanted me to be part of it. I told this guy, I said, go and tell those comrades, I don't want to be part of it. I really don't want to be part of it. Right? So, all those things made me a bad guy. And finally, when it was won, it's a business tender. You have to have money. They tried to get money, they couldn't get the money.
So the black consortium did win it?
No, they didn't get it.
Oh.
Because they didn't have money.
Yeah,
it was won by the Africa concessions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then
because you have to prove you've got the funds.
And there was bitterness again on that. Now, let me tell you the other one, which the promissory note, how it became a major problem for me. When finally the Scorpion picked up this thing to say, but where does this thing come from? They investigated. They found that as they were investigating the promissory note, investigating me, they finally found out that I didn't know anything. I didn't sign anything. Judge Heath, when I started proceedings to take him to court.
The Judge Heath was heading the Scorpions or heading the special investigation?
Special investigation unit. Yeah.
SIU.
Yeah. He was. Yeah. What they did is they came to me to say, there's something we want to talk to you about, and we think you can help us. I said, what is it? He says, then they produced a letter.
Yeah.
That letter was written by me and signed by me. It was written by me.
Okay.
I never asked the official to write the letter and signed by me.
Yeah.
It was so controversial because I didn't want anybody to know that letter. The letter, I am being approached by Alan Gray.
Okay.
And I'm told, sorry. It's not Alan Gray. I'm being approached by the DG, Frank Mbata.
Oh, Frank Mbata.
Yeah, Frank Mbata was our DG. Yeah, sorry, it was not Alan Gray. And I'm being approached that there is a company called Ingwe Colliery. It's a mining, it mines coal.
It still exists
now
today.
Listen to the story. Modipane must be destroyed here. But people want to make money, but Modipane must take the bullet. He says to me, that company is donating money to augment the salary of Peter Rothman as the advisor to the premier.
Okay.
I said, DG, I don't understand. He said, yes. He's complaining that we're not paying him enough.
Okay.
He was contracted as an advisor to the premier, Peter Rothman. And he had a salary for that.
Yeah.
There were attempts in the legislature to appoint him as a director general, but it couldn't happen because the procurement process was not followed. So he was appointed as an advisor.
Yeah.
But then I'm being approached as a finance MEC because the company, they say the company says if the MEC for finance sciences will pay the 1.3 million to augment your advisor's salary. And then I'm being approached. So DG, what do you want me to do? To write that letter and say that you are accepting that money? I said, no. It is their money. And why do they want me to sign a letter when they want to spend their own money? He says, no, because he's already working and they want to augment this. I said, no, DG, it's not going to work like that. Let me tell you how you should approach it. I don't want to be part of that. My responsibility is to oversee the money of the province.
Yeah.
Tell them to ask Peter Rothman to resign, to relinquish the salary of government. And they take him, they put him in their salary bill, and they second him to government. And government will surely accept somebody who they are seconding to the government to assist. He said, no, I'm not very sure whether they are going to agree with that. I said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it. In Treasury, we don't accept money with strings attached. If you donate money to government, you can, the worst thing you can say is to say, I'm donating this money for health purposes. We'll direct the money to health to the health department.
Yeah.
I'm donating this money for education purposes. We'll direct that donation to the Department of Education. But to come and tell me that you're donating the money, you are donating the money which must go to an individual salary, no, I'm not doing it.
So that was very strange. So Peter Rothman goes to them and complains that I'm not earning enough.
Something like that. No, but wait, and you will hear where the conspiracy is going now.
Yeah.
And then he goes away. After going away, the following day he comes back. He says, "No, I've thought about something." He went and he consulted his principals.
Okay.
He went and consulted his principals. He comes back to me. He says, "Look, there's a proposal." I said, "What is the proposal?" He says, "The proposal is that the money should be put into the corporate account under one of the consulting firms in Nelspruit.
Okay.
So that company will take the money, 1.3 million, open a corporate account with one of the, and that company was Deloitte and Touche.
Okay.
And then they're asking you to write a letter to Deloitte and Touche and saying that you want to open a consulting, a corporate account. I said, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I don't have the power to do that. It's not my money. It's not the government money. My responsibility is to take care of government money. I'm not doing it. Then he says, okay, then let me go and say to the company they must open the account themselves. I said, yes, go and do that. He leaves. Now, here it comes into spirituality now. You must be spiritual. If you're not spiritual, you won't see this. Then I sit back, I said, you know what, this conversation, it's a comeback. It's going to come back. These people are going to do this thing. I don't understand what they're trying to do. But by that time, I don't know. See, so what was going on. I just said, but what is this? I took my laptop. I started writing a letter. To who? To the Director General.
Okay.
Director General, I still remember the first sentence. I concur with you. The Ingwe Colliery who are donating the money should go and open, because it was his proposal, should go and open a corporate account and use that money themselves to augment the salary of Peter Rothman. Government is not part of that. Now, I still remember the first sentence. I started with the word I concur, to say that I was agreeing to what he was saying.
Yeah.
So that matter disappears. Gone. You know, it resurfaces in 1999. Now I'm the MEC for Finance under Ndaweni Mahlangu.
Yeah.
It resurfaces there. The next thing I'm told that Judge Heath and his people are here to see you. To see me, yeah. Or they invited me. They rented offices somewhere in Nelspruit.
Yeah.
You are someone there. So I go in there. When I go in there, they say, no, that was the promissory note. No, this one, the Scorpion, the police, led by Advocate Chavunga.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
You remember Chavunga? Yeah. After that, they framed him and they convicted him, and later he made an appeal. He went. Yeah, because he was chasing me, believing that I was corrupt. And later, when he discovered that I was not corrupt, he started chasing the real corrupt people. They nailed him. Yeah. So the Scorpions are in my office, led by Advocate Chavunga. They say, Mr. Modipane, we want to show you something. See, so they pulled that letter I wrote, the one I said I started with. I concur. They said, look at this. So I looked at them. They said, is it familiar? I said, yes, it is familiar. I wrote this letter. You wrote it, yes. And I signed it, like you can see. They says, so tell us, what happened to this money? I said, what money? They said, this money you're talking about here. I said, no. I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about an account which they came to me. DG came to me to ask me to write to the auditing company open. I said, no, I'm not opening. He then came the following day to propose that, initially they wanted me to sign the letter. I said, I'm not signing any letter.
Yeah.
The following day, he came to propose that I must write a letter to the auditing company to open an account. I said, I'm not writing that letter. They said, Mr. Modipane, do you know what happened? Do you know that this money finally came? And it came.
So that account was created?
The account was created. I was learning that for the first time after 1999. They said, let's give you what happened. So you don't know? I said, I don't know anything. That was the last time I dealt with this matter was when I wrote that letter, and then that was the end. And nobody told me anything what happened.
Yeah.
Caesar. The Scorpion is now the private investigators now are telling me, they say, Mr. Modipane, let's tell you. They pull another document.
Okay.
You know what is the another document? Is the check from Ingo Collier, 1.3 million.
Okay.
They says to me, take your letter and take the check and look at the date of these two things were issued. Lo and behold, by the time I wrote that letter where they were telling me that Ingo is still planning to donate money, but they're waiting for me to give them the okay to donate money to pay Peter Rothman's salary.
Yeah.
That check was already issued. It was issued 3 months ago.
Wow.
By Ingo Collier. And do you know what is the name, the name and the surname of that check? To Mpumalanga Department of Education. That man was not for Peter Rothman's to augment the salary of Peter Rothman. So the money, Ingo Collier donated money to support the Department of Education in a particular program. I can't remember the program.
So, but why would they go?
They wanted to steal the money.
Okay.
They wanted to steal the money, and they wanted to steal the money, and so that when the bullet comes, it must hit me. They don't tell me those things, all of them. They plan alone where they are. They say, let's compromise with him. But in any case, we want him out because this man is arrogant. He doesn't want to listen. I look at them. I said, guys, I don't understand. They said, no, you understand very well. They wanted to. Now it is the private investigator that says, Mr. Modipane, you are a target. They wanted to use you so that you go to jail while they enjoy this man. This money, the Ingo Collier is not part of this shenanigans that they were telling you. Ingo Collier donated the money to the Department of Education. And the money should have actually come to me as a Minister for Finance. But the money was never brought to me. They kept the money and they came up with a stratagem to say, how can we remove him? So they planned to remove me from government. It was a concocted, a well-orchestrated plan to remove me. Then they said, now we are going to arrest this man and we're going to subpoena you to come to court.
Yeah.
The following day, I have a person visiting me.
Yeah.
He's no longer the advisor, Peter Rothman.
Okay.
He comes to me. He says, you remember that letter you wrote about the man from Collier? I said, yes. He says, how are you going to deal with it? I said, deal with what? With that letter. Now, I think when he came to me, he was trying to come and intimidate me. He was not aware that already the investigators have seen me.
I've already seen you.
Yes, yeah. He was coming to intimidate me.
Yeah.
So I said to him, no. What do you mean? He says, no. How are you going to deal with it? I said, deal with it where? He says, no. What if there's a court case? What is going to be your evidence? I said, no. When you go to court, you tell the truth.
Yeah.
I said, when you are supposed to go to court, you tell the truth. Listen to the statement he comes. He says, you must be very careful about things, because I've got a tendency of, when I talk to you, I write something. I write down. I said, Peter Rodman, what are you trying to tell me? Are you trying to intimidate me? I know that case. I even wrote a letter about that case. I refused to participate in that case. And I'm going to tell the court what I did. And then he left. And then I realized that it's a problem. Now, remember I said to you, when they tried this thing and it could not work, Thabo Mbeki said, reinstate Jacques Modipane. February 1999. I'm reinstated, but I'm not reinstated in the treasury, in finance, Mpumalanga. I'm now made the MEC for safety and security. Right? And then again told you that I should not have joined the government in 1999 because I didn't make a threshold. I was number 37, and we could only get 26. 3 went to the opposition. ANC could only put 23. So I was way above. And then national ANC leadership said, no, we want Jacques in, because Trevor Manuel went and complained to the president to say, Mr. President, we are building a finance team in South Africa. And we've gone a long way. And we're thinking that Jacques should be back in finance to continue the good work that he's doing. I'm asking, please plead with the premier, the new premier, that when he appoints as executive council, he must reappoint Jacques into the finance department. And the President Thabo Mbeki called the premier and he negotiated that with him.
No, and it was still early days at that time. As you explained to me how you were refusing, they were trying all angles to get me out, entangled in corruption.
In corruption.
How did you pick up and understand quickly that this is wrong? I'm saying it was early days. I mean, finance was a new thing to you.
That's why I keep on telling you, there's something we call spirituality. There are people who are born with spirituality. They see things while they come. Do you know that each time they were going to attack me, I will get informed during the night that there's going to be an attack on you.
Be ready.
Yeah, be ready. Right? People are not spiritual, don't understand what I'm telling you now. Be ready. They're going to attack you. So that's why I have bullets in my body. I survived the 4 assassination attempts. 4 of them, I survived them. Right. So when they realized, damn it, that man, we thought he's out. He has escaped. He's going back again. And the court case is coming.
And besides, they were thinking we are gullible. They approach you, they say, he's going to accept this thing.
He was just going to accept this thing. And they tried, I was not accepting. They tried, I was not accepting. They tried, I was not accepting. Right? Now they said, no, let's revive these things. How do they revive it? I'm now the MEC for finance under Dawin Mahlangu. They said, no, let's use the head of special prosecutions. Then Bulelani Nuka was roped in. Bulelani Nuka writes a letter to the Premier, Mr. Mr. Mahlangu. Jacques Modipane is under investigation for promissory note. They bring him back something which is dead. They are bringing it. We're asking you to relieve him of his duties until we've done with our election, with our investigation. Then when we're done, we'll tell you. Remove him. And indeed, you can't say no to the special investigations when they say the man is corrupt. This matter is long settled. The judge even said, I never said that Modipane signed the promissory note. I'm a lawyer. You can't sign a document from behind. Right? Now, Maduna, Dr. Patrick Maduna, when he heard that they alleged that I signed a promissory note, you know Patrick Maduna, Dr. Patrick Maduna. He invited me to his salon. When I go in there, we're working together because he was coming from Gangwane. He was the Minister of Health there. He says to Mr. Modipane, let me tell you what they did to you. He went to the file, he produced a letter, he gave me the letter. The letter is written by the PA of Alan Gray, who was the CEO of Mpumalanga Park Sport. He says, read this letter and I'll tell you how they got your signature.
Yeah.
The signature, the letter is written by the PA or the minute secretary who's working with the computer, a white lady.
Yeah.
She says, Dr. Maduna, I want to apologize for having lifted your signature electronically and put it on an annual report on Mpumalanga Park Sport. You were not around and were under pressure to submit the report to the Executive Council City. So because you're not around, you're overseas. I then went to one of the documents you've signed, and I lifted your signature, and I put it on annual report and we submitted. Do you know what happened to Dr. Maduna because of that? The Premier fired him as the chairperson of the Mpumalanga Park Sport because of that annual report.
And his signature was there.
Because his signature was there. And when he came back, he wanted to know why he's being fired. They said, you signed a document about the dolphin deal, and you put it in the annual report, and you made the Executive Council to take the dolphin as a park sport thing. So he was fired as a chairperson of the park sport. He says, Mr. Modipane, this is what they did to you. They lifted your signature from another document and they put it behind the promissory note.
Yeah.
Because they want to make you a scapegoat.
Yes.
You know, I tried to call the media to explain this to the media. No, the media in South Africa is controlled by the capital. They will never save you. If they feel that you are against their agenda, the media is not going to help. Alan Gray was never exposed. They never wrote anything about Alan Gray. It was always about me. I signed the promissory note also, when I did not sign any promissory note. And after they realize that I'm back, and that tells that they're in trouble, I don't know whether they thought that when I'm no longer at the MEC, I'll be very angry with government and I'll refuse to testify against Peter Rothman.
Yeah.
And then when they came to me after that, they said, now the case is coming. Then they subpoenaed me. I went to court. I told the court that, listen, this is a theft. According to me, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer, but this is a theft. They wanted to use me to take the bullet for them because I told them it cannot be done. I realized when the investigator came to me that there was never, that check was long donated by Ingo Kuller to the Department of Education. But they wanted me to help them steal the check and take the bullet for them. And I saw it coming. I refused. I refused. So that is one thing which needs to be placed on record to say, I never signed the promissory note. You know, 2000, when they forced me to resign from Ndaweni Mahlangu's Executive Council, up to now, how many years? 2000 to 2000, in 2000, May 2000. Is how many years? It's many years ago.
25 years. Yeah.
And I still say to you, I never signed the promissory note. And I've given you the background.
No. You wouldn't escape. The Scorpions were very brutal at that time.
They were very brutal.
Nobody escaped.
And the line they were pursuing to say, let's make it a point to remove leaders of the ANC who are not part of our spies. We want our spies to run the new government. Right? If I was a spy, they would not have done that to me. If I was a spy, they would not have done that to me. They would not have tried to kill me several times. The Mongwen Riot Squad, the Homeland Bantustan hit squad tried to kill me. They bombed my house. They shot 132 bullets.
Yes.
I escaped. Then they formed a vigilante group called Sofasong. It came in. They tried to trap me. I managed to escape. They put my house on fire and added 7 more houses, including my parents' house. I escaped. They came to the hotel to assassinate me. The God sent in a cigarette and a matchbox. They came there, assassin. They said, no, our target doesn't smoke. I escaped. 1991, they sent the military snipers from Amsterdam military base. 4 of those white snipers, they were taken from Mbange to come and assassinate me. They came, they shot over 300 bullets there. I escaped, but I escaped with 2 wounds. So I'm trying to say to you, if I was a spy, spies were never targeted. They were always protected. Unless they were stupid, they make stupid mistakes, like John Guna made a stupid mistake. And they said, look, you have made a stupid mistake. You went and you killed a white old woman on a farm. You sent your henchman to go and do it. I'm sorry. You are our spy, but this time you've killed a white woman. We're going to make it a point you go to jail. And he went to jail because he crossed the line. He crossed the line.
Exactly. Because what's interesting to me, I've been asking myself that you talk about spies and everybody, but you are only able to mention John Guna, the others you are not able to mention.
Well, I can't mention them. I must go to my grave with that information. I'm a soldier. I can't mention them.
Why John Guna though?
Well, John Guna was exposed.
Okay.
He went to court. He confessed in court that he was trying to kill all of us.
Yeah.
He nearly killed Lasi Chuayo, Kasha Bangu, Mnisi. I just forget what his name was.
What happened? There was a story that he was trying to throw a hand grenade, but it sort of boomeranged.
Bounced back, yeah. The first one went inside.
Yeah.
And then it fell behind a kist full of blankets.
Oh, okay.
So it exploded behind that blanket. Kashabangu was sleeping in that room. He wanted to kill Kashabangu.
Okay.
And unfortunately, it was not only Kashabangu. There were 6 people in that room.
Yeah.
He wanted to kill Kashabangu, but there was Lasi Chuayo and his girlfriend, Peter, his name is Peter Mnisi and his girlfriend, and Kashabangu and his girlfriend. So on that day, they were lucky. 6 people should have died, right? They survived. And then on their way coming to my house to throw another hand grenade in my room, Lassie said, let's run to Comrade Jacques. Comrade Jacques has got 3 AK-47s. We get the AK-47s, we look for the people who threw the hand grenade in our house. Yeah. I was saved by Lassie because later when they investigated, they said, we were just one house. We were just about to be where Jacques Modipane was sleeping. Yeah. And then that's when the Kumbi came in, carrying Lassie and others. They knocked and said, hey, come out, we have been attacked.
No, the story I heard is that John Guna had an accident. Apparently, he shot himself or hit himself.
No. It was not an accident.
Okay.
When they realized, 1993, they started eliminating their spies who they thought that maybe these ones, they will leak the information. They killed the majority of them.
Okay.
They tried to kill him. His own handlers tried to kill him. They hit him. They thought he was dead. Only to find that he didn't die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's still alive.
So
I can get him to talk.
I'm told he's not well.
Yeah.
He's in hospital.
For many years he has not been.
Yeah. So that is the information which you need. Yeah. It then tells you why Mpumalanga is having these problems.
Because also you mentioned something that at some point you resigned from MTPA and said, look, because of these political killings, when they were rife in the province.
No, I resigned from the legislature. Yeah. Now, let me tell you something. There were 2 things. When National imposed me in the legislature of Mpumalanga in 1999, because National imposed me, I didn't make it.
Yes, I remember.
Comrades in Mpumalanga never voted for me. I was number 37, so I was out. But national leadership imposed me, right? Because of the strategic role I was playing as the MEC for finance.
Yes.
Right? Now, the hostility was too much on me. Right? At the same time, again, those guys who stole the Ingwe, Colliery, all those people, because of my Mafikeng debacle and everything, people are angry with me in Mpumalanga. And the narrative says he must go to Limpopo because Bushbuck Ridge, where he's coming from, is gone to Limpopo. Right?
Yeah.
To the extent that I never became the PEC member after 1999. The conference that came, I didn't make it because I didn't have a constituency.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't have a constituency.
Yeah.
I only came back and served in the PEC when Thabang Makwetla became the chairperson of the ANC.
Yeah.
But those who were in Mpumalanga, those who were participating, those who had hijacked the organization after that debacle, they had the first generation in government, they made it a point that I do not return. So,
but at some point, I remember there was the Pushback Ridge, was it border committee or something? They fought back to come back to Mpumalanga.
Yeah, I'll come back.
I mean, that's where this man who was the Scopa chairperson, Tembakodi, was created.
Yes. Yes. What happened is...
So what I'm referring back to that thing is when Pushback Ridge came back, where were you? Did you regain?
I was outside.
You were no longer interested.
I was outside. I was not in the legislature. I had my own little business.
Okay.
I think it was 2004. I think.
Yeah, roundabout. Yeah.
No, the debacle.
Because Pushback was redemarcated into Mpumalanga.
Yeah. When they came with the border issue, the demarcation board said, "Look, let's try to pick up some of the take Pushback back to Mpumalanga."
Yeah.
I was not there because I left. Then after I left the executive council, I realized that now people were beginning to be killed. I realized that I'm going to be killed here. In fact, I picked up intelligence that I was on the hit list.
Okay.
Yeah. I then decided that no. Because I resigned from the executive council, but I remained in the legislature until 2002.
Yes.
Then they said, look, if you don't leave this time, they're not going to miss you because you're going to be killed by those elements who are within the ANC. Right? I then started looking for opportunities. One gentleman, George Manus, came up with a proposal to say, why don't we open a dealership, a Peugeot dealership, because the French want to open the reinvest in South Africa. That's when I said, look, let me use this as an escape. I tendered my resignation from the legislature. I resigned. That time it was bad in Mpumalanga. It was bad.
Yeah. Because
you go to meetings, the knives are flying.
Sure.
They want certain people to go into the leadership.
Yeah.
Twice in Shatale, we had to run through the windows. Escape through the windows.
Yeah.
Because they were standing at the door with knives and we had to jump out of the window and we ran. In Mariti as well, we had to jump through the windows and run away. It was bad. And the worst thing is that even if you tried to go to the national and say, please come to our rescue, things are bad here. The national leadership didn't want to interfere. I think we're not making sense when we said, please come to our rescue. We're not making sense. So I resigned in 2002 from the legislature. I tendered the resignation. I said, I'm leaving. I'm just about to be killed here. I left. Right. So that's why I resigned from the legislature. And from that moment, it was bad in Mpumalanga. There was a leadership which was elected, and Ndaweni became the chairperson of the ANC in the province.
Yeah.
Because you have to be the chairperson to become and then he got a deputy. I can't remember whether the deputy was Lubisi or Fish Mahlalel. No. It was not Fish. It was Lubisi. Yeah, and then it went forward. When he left, Mbeki had already deployed Thabang Makwetla to come to Mpumalanga. I think Thabo Mbeki wanted to fix Mpumalanga because he could see that things were not going well. So he sent Thabo Makwetla to come in during Ndawene's time, preparing that he should take over from Ndawene. And then Ndawene made him the MEC for safety and security.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember, yeah.
So he's there, 2004, 5, and then 2004, our businesses, the network, the Peugeot network, the collapses.
Yeah.
All Peugeot dealerships collapse. We lose money and I'm out. So 2005, I'm trying to survive. 2006, Thabo Makwetla now is a premier.
Yeah.
It was Thabo Makwetla who came to my house to ask me to come back as a technocrat.
Okay.
Yeah, as a technocrat. At the same time, when Thabo Makwetla became the chairperson of the ANC, that conference.
Let me see. It's the tutorial advice. Oh, okay. Tell them to give us maybe 20 minutes. Oh, okay.
I was elected to serve in the PEC under Thabo Makwetla.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a PEC member.
Okay.
Under Thabo Makwetla.
Oh.
Because comrades were beginning to fight back.
Yeah.
To fight back, to say, no, we've got to try and rescue Comrade Jacques. He was given a raw deal, and we've got to rescue him. They underestimated the rot. The rot was too deep. Yeah. And then I am in the legislature. I am in the, not legislature, in the PEC. 2006, Thabang comes, he says, look, the national framework for transitional leadership has been now established. We have an act now.
Yeah.
Right? And then in the province, we finalized, that's what he says, he's telling me, we finalized the act for provincial House of Transitional Leaders.
Yeah.
They finalized it in 2005. The national one was finalized in 2003. The provincial one in Mpumalanga was finalized in 2005. So now we want you to come and assist to re-establish the provincial House of Transitional Leaders and also the local houses in the districts.
Yeah.
That's how I came back as a technocrat in 2006.
Yeah.
So I came back. I became the senior manager. I started re-establishing the house. Then it went 2009. And during the time people are dying, leaders of the ANC are being killed left and right.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, but
they were picking this.
I'm no longer in active politics and so on. So they're leaving me alone.
Yeah,
I'm no longer interested. Then in 2009, Jacob Zuma becomes the president of South Africa because remember he was removed in 2008.
Yes.
When we went to Limpopo.
Yeah.
That conference of 2007 was the conflict which destroyed the ANC. They finished the ANC there.
Yeah.
They took Mbeki out of the way because he was seen to be obstructive. Even today, if you ask them, but why did you remove Mbeki? No one can tell you why they removed him. But in the book of Dr. Chikani explains, he says, they said to him, the reason why we removed your boss is because he would not let us eat. So we wanted to eat. He didn't do anything wrong. We removed Mbeki because Mbeki was too tight on corruption.
Yeah.
So now, the new premier comes in and I said, I don't belong here. I'm leaving.
But why would you take a decision before he even starts?
No. People were dying that time.
Okay.
Yeah, they were dying. No. I just knew that I cannot work with this man. I know him better than many people knew him.
But you are the first person who ensured that he gets cabinet position.
I explained, remember last time I explained the context, how he came in. I knew who he was. He came in on his ticket as the leader of the teaching profession in Mpumalanga.
Yeah.
We could not undermine the teachers.
Yeah.
And whatever the wrong things were done in our past as ANC leaders, as spies, as the National Party, there was a general amnesty for everybody. To the extent that Mandela even appointed former generals of the Defense Force, which was at war with the ANC. He made one of the Defense Force general to be the post-apartheid head of the National Defense Force. Right? Because there was amnesty. We said, let's forget about the past. Whoever did what he did politically, they must be forgiven. Right? So yes, you're right. I knew everybody, but we had taken an oath that we will never disclose to anybody who was who in the zoo.
No.
For the sake of peace.
I'm not going to pursue you further what you knew.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to implicate
No.
myself
Yeah.
in that discussion.
Yeah.
as well.
So there are secrets which we must go to our graves with them. We must not disclose them.
Yeah.
So I'm working, and then all of a sudden 1999 comes, leadership change, Makwetla leaves. Yeah, I must say Makwetla had hard time in Mpumalanga. He had a hard time.
He was always thought of as being an outsider.
Makwetla is one of the well-established scholars within the ANC. He understands the ANC, but he was never welcomed. He was never supported.
No, he never was.
Yeah. And when the time came, of course, he knew that he was not going to make it. And Mbeki, who made it a point that he got elected the first time when he went in, it was during the time when Mbeki was still the president, when he bought him. We voted him because Mbeki was still there and he would protect him. He was a president. But in 1999, Mbeki was gone. So Makwetla said, thank you very much, I'm also leaving. Right? And the drama which happened in the conference of 2008, where Makwetla was removed, you need another session for that.
Yeah, were you there?
I was there.
Because it's a very interesting...
It was a very bad...
Whatever is been said.
That conference was turned into a political theater. Money played a role. People, members of the ANC were quarantined.
Apparently, it's arguably the first ANC conference where money was at display. And then from there, everything went south.
I keep telling them that the money story in the ANC started in Mpumalanga. And from Mpumalanga, a textbook was produced on how to steal government with money. That textbook was written in Mpumalanga. And the textbook was tested in that conference of 2008 in Mpumalanga.
Yeah.
Where people were paid money to vote for somebody, where the delegates of the ANC were quarantined. When we went in there, there was no delegate coming. We said, but where are the delegates? Okay. And we knew that delegates are somewhere. We don't know where they were.
Okay.
They were taken and hidden in hotels. Quarantined. And as we were standing there, I remember I was talking to Thaba Makwetla. I said, Thaba Makwetla, do you see what is going on here? He says, yes, I see. I said, where are the delegates? He says, I don't know where they are. I said, Thaba, we are going to see something we have never seen. And there were members of the NEC who were there to representing the NEC. Yeah. They didn't stop that conference because they should have stopped that conference. They didn't. Why didn't they stop that conference? Why? I'm not going to give you the answer. You can read between the lines. They didn't stop that conference because they could see that this was not a conference of the ANC. And lo and behold, round about past 10, past 11, we saw buses, the same color. These buses were coming from a company from the Highveld.
Okay.
Packed with delegates. They came into the stadium,
Yeah.
into the rugby, into the
It was the showground.
ground. They came there, many, full of delegates.
Yeah.
And then they stopped there, and no delegate is coming out of those buses.
Okay.
So we said, but what is going on? There are marshals blocking the doors of the buses, and they're waiting there.
So you are in that empty marquee.
We're in that empty. No, was it the marquee? I can't
whatever
remember
it is.
the marquee. I can't remember whether it was marquee or it was.
Yeah.
And the delegates, the buses are there, full of delegates, but they're not moving. The marshals are blocking them to not to go. And those delegates are all paid money.
How many delegates talking about?
Our conference used to go for around
Mpumalanga,
400.
480 to
something,
500.
yeah,
Okay.
something.
I just want to make an idea of.
And the delegates are not coming out of the buses. The honest comrades, Lasichua was supposed to be our chairperson.
Yeah.
Lasichua, they even asked me to become the deputy secretary. And I kept on saying, the comrades, we have lost this conference. There will be no conference. They didn't believe me.
So delegates are not there. They still believe that.
No, the night before, we had a meeting in
before.
Lasichua's house. I said to them, comrades,
You've lost
this
the
conference is gone. We're not going to make it. The late comrade Jackson Temple says, Chief, we know what you're talking about. Here are the numbers. I said, Jackson, there is no conference we're going to get. But anyhow, I made a statement. I said to them, comrades, I will accept your nomination that I become the deputy secretary. Because I want to make a statement that I don't stand on the fence. I'm not a coward. I want you to know that I will support Comrade Lasichua in this conference. Yeah, that I want to make it because I wanted them to know that I don't agree with the shenanigans which were taking place. I said I will support Comrade Las, but I'm telling you, Las is not going to see it. We went in, and when no delegates were turning up, it was only those honest comrades who were there. The bulk of the delegates are not there. Then they said, the comrades, what do we do now? We can see that something is wrong. And then they wanted to take a very, very unstrategic decision to say, comrades, because we see that the national comrades don't want to help us to stop this conference, let's decide that we don't participate in this conference. I said, comrades, I don't agree with you. We must participate. Majority of them said, no, we're not participating. This conference is bought with money. I said, we must participate.
Well,
the only person who support me, it was Kashavang. I said, let me tell you why. And Kashavang says to me, they were emotional. Kashavang says, comrades, can we listen to Comrade Jacques? Why he says we must participate? I said, yes, we must participate. And I'll tell you why we must participate. If we don't participate and things go wrong after this conference, comrades who are honest are going to say, but comrades, we wanted to elect you. You chickened out and you didn't stand. I know we're going to be defeated, but let us participate so that they must come tomorrow and say, you sold the ANC by not participating. And then all of them, they said, Comrade Jacques, you are right. Let's participate. We participated. We were beaten 300%. Zero. We got nothing. That slate went in as it was planned by those who planned it. Under the stewardship of members of the NEC. They saw what was happening, but didn't want to stop that conference. And don't ask me why. Use your imagination.
Yeah.
This is how the demise of the ANC came. First sought, final sought to the national the ANC, Polokwane.
Yeah.
And by the time we went to Polokwane, and that happened before Polokwane, that conference.
Yeah.
That conference in Mpumalanga happened before.
Just before Polokwane. Was it?
In 2000. Was it after or before? Let me be careful.
Yeah.
Let me be careful.
I'm trying to recollect, but
let me be careful.
something doesn't make sense to me.
Let me be careful because I don't know which came first, but I know for a fact. No. That conference was in 2008. Yeah. Our conference was in 2008. Yeah. Polokwane had already happened.
Oh, yeah.
That's why Makwetla, they could remove Makwetla because President Bik was gone. Yeah. So that's what happened. And myself and others who didn't make it into that conference. In fact, we did not even want to. They tried to nominate some people to go to become additional members. I was never nominated to become an additional member. I actually left early. I went back home. I left it. Yeah. So that was the beginning of the real slaughter in Mpumalanga. Now, 2008, I am the CEO of House of Traditional Leaders. 2008. 2009, the national elections come. Makwetla says bye-bye. He said bye-bye to ANC leadership in 2008 in the conference. Then he says bye-bye now when the national elections came as a premier. The new leadership comes in. So that's when I started saying, I have to go. The reason why I couldn't go immediately, the government had paid for my master's degree program. So I had to finish that program. Which finally I couldn't finish because I realized that I have to go. I have to leave. 2008, 2009, 2011, it became very bad. It became very, very bad. They removed the house because we were under the premier's office. They sent it to the local government. And things got heated up for me. And 2012, by the time the end of the year, I said, I got intelligence that the sooner you leave, the better. I resigned in 2012, February. I through my resignation from House of Traditional Leaders, I left. At that stage, I was then approached by National to say, we want you to be part of the ANC political school. So we don't want to lose you in the battlefield. So I was preparing to go and be part of that school, which was they were preparing to inaugurate to start it. Now, round about, I don't know which month it was, there was a policy conference at Galaga Estate. I'm approached by the Secretary General, Mantash, when we were at the policy conference. He said, no, look, man, I wanted to talk to you about that plan of you coming to National. I've been approached by the Premier from Mpumalanga. He says that he's asking that you must not come to National. He wants you to come and help him rebuild MTPA. Caesar, I was shocked. I said, what? He says, yes. I said, no, not him. He can't say that about me. He says, no. He feels very strong and he's actually accusing us that we are trying to cripple him. You have a skill of rebuilding organizations when they have dwindled. And the way MTPA is down, it needs a person like you to go and rebuild MTPA. I said, I try to sell a perspective about what is the plan about that. Mantash will not have it. As we're talking with Mantash, here comes the Premier. He says, I'm happy that I'm getting you two together. Like I said, Secretary General, you are crippling Mpumalanga. Gwede says, guys, the two of you, now you're together, talk, I'm leaving. So Gwede left and he left me. He left the two of us. And I told him in his face, I said, Chief, you know me, I know you. We cannot work together. We cannot work together. I said, for your information, let me tell you, the reason why I resigned is because you are a premier. That's why I resigned from HTL. I can't work with you. I'm sorry. So, no, I don't have a problem with you, but I want you to come in MTPA. I said, no, it's not going to work. I'm not coming.
Yeah.
So says, no, let us keep on talking. I then made a trip, a special trip to go to Gwede Mantash's office, at head office. I sat down with him. I said, Premier, I want to tell you why I'm not prepared to go back to Mpumalanga.
Yeah.
I told him why.
Everything, yeah.
I confided in him.
Okay.
He says, no, you are coming with allegations. And he's not deploying you because of him as a person. He's deploying you as a chairperson of the ANC. So in other words, you are refusing ANC deployment. That was the key statement. You are defying ANC.
Yeah.
That man is deploying as a chairperson of the ANC. And you come from Mpumalanga.
Okay.
So don't come with allegations here.
Yeah.
Now, one of the MEC for finance was very, we used to talk, him and me. After that, I got a phone call from him.
Yeah.
He holds a very senior position today. He says to me, man, I spoke to Comrade Secretary General. He said that I must phone in and talk to you, man. What is this thing that you are refusing deployment from in Mpumalanga? I said, no, but I confided in the Secretary General why I'm not prepared to go back to Mpumalanga. He says, no, Comrade Jacques, you mustn't do that. For your information, I even spoke to the Premier from Mpumalanga. I have his mandate to phone you, to plead with you that you must go and phone and sign it. And after that, many comrades will come and persuade me to go. This and see, so at that time, I'm unemployed. And I know that I won't find my way to head office again.
Yeah.
I did what I knew I should not have done. And I went in there with a plan to say, I'm going to go in there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to watch from every direction because I know I'm not supposed to be there. I went in and I found corruption, the mother of all corruption in MTPA, where the debt on the paper, it was 110 million. It was like MTPA was a place where money was being siphoned. It was coming from the treasury, given to MTPA, and it was flying out of MTPA to go somewhere.
Yeah. Something which started long time ago when you were the
MEC for finance. Yeah. And so I did what no politician has ever done. I don't think in South Africa there's any politician who did what I did with corruption when I went to Mpumalanga. For information, when I was finance MEC, I fired 2 HODs. One, I fired him because when we were saving the money to build the government complex, the money was with FNB. He went and he took the money, that investment to build the offices, and he took the money and he went and he invested with his private investors. And then they gave him a commission as HOD for finance, the white guy. When the bank called me to say, hey, listen, we've got a problem here. That guy has taken the money, he has invested with the private investor. I said, but why didn't you tell me when he was coming to say he's taken the money? He says, well, according to the framework, he is the accounting officer. You are not the accounting officer. You are a politician. I called him. I said, why did you take that money? He couldn't. I said, where is the money? He says, I invested with the private. I said, why did you do that without my consent? I said, let me tell you something. I no longer want you in my department. I went to the Premier to tell him, to say, Premier, this guy has committed a fraud. He took the money which we saved to build the government complex from FNB where I invested the money. And then he took the money and he went and invested the money with private investors in Cape Town. And I learned from my advisor that they gave him a commission.
Hey.
So please, I want this guy out. I'm firing him. He says, give me time. The following day he comes, he says, no, don't fire him. I'll release him to me. I'll send him to another department. So they refused me to fire him. I said, take him out. It's either he's out or I'm out. I can't work with this guy.
Yeah.
I can't, because I knew, Caesar, that fraud was coming. You know what happened? That guy was arrested later in his office in the new complex that he tried to defraud. Working for Public Works.
Yeah.
The Scorpion handcuffed him there publicly.
Yeah.
In front of media cameras.
Yeah. No, hey.
Right? The second one I fired was one called Mr. Abel Erasmus.
Yeah.
I said to him, Abel, you are failing to do your job. I don't want you any longer. It's either you resign or I fire you. He opted to resign. He resigned.
Yeah.
Then I got, a visit from the advisor, Peter Rothman, who came to me and said, you know, every white person in town says that you are a racist. You're targeting white officials and you are firing them. I said, no. Check the two HODs why I want them out from my department.
Yeah.
They've committed, the first one has committed a fraud. And I could have opened the case against him. I didn't open the case.
Yeah.
The premier said I mustn't fire him. He'll take him to Public Works. He went to Public Works. The second one, he couldn't perform. He was like a predicant. He's not doing his job. I said, he must leave. If he doesn't leave, I'm going to fire him.
Yeah.
He left voluntarily.
Yeah.
So I've got a department to take care of here. I can't just allow somebody who cannot do the job. I can't just allow somebody who's controversial, who I can see that is corrupt, he has committed a crime.
Yeah.
Tomorrow they're going to say, what did you do about it?
Exactly.
Right?
So when you go to MTPA, which really was infested with corruption, how many people did you fire?
I fired 5 executive managers. I started with the head of legal, one advocate, Makinde. She was given the budget of 2.5 million. She brought that budget to 25 million.
Yo.
Now, and that is not the issue. The big issue is coming. The CFO, I fired. The head of corporate, I fired. The head of biodiversity, I was just about to suspend him when he threw the Friday, he came and he asked for a leave. So I said, because I wanted to talk to him on Monday.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. He threw a leave on Friday.
Yeah.
On Monday, one of the board members of MTPA, Mr. Briggs, who was working for the Kruger National Park, he comes in my office and said, hey, listen, I see one of your executive managers is wearing a uniform of Kruger National Park. I said, no, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Who is that? He told me the name. He said, the head of biodiversity. I said, no, tell me. No. Tell me your. He says, no, I'm not joking. So he had organized his friend who was at Kruger National Park. I think he was appointed when he was still at MTPA. Friday, he put in a leave. Monday, he's reporting at Kruger National Park.
I said, no, I'm not staying here.
He said, I'm not staying here.
It's how you jump a work.
Yeah. The next one, who was very, very obstructive, his contract was coming to an end in February. I decided I'm not renewing it.
Yeah.
He was head of, she was part of the I think tourism.
Yeah.
The next one, who again, his contract was coming to an end in April. I decided, no, I'll tolerate him until April. I'm not going to renew his contract.
Yeah.
Then there was one director who was a real anarchist. I suspended him, but later, after firing me, they brought him back. He's still with MTPA. Now, why I fired them? I go into MTPA. I want the first meeting with them. I said, give me all the documents and I want to see your loan book. I want to see the CFO. I want everybody that, all of the creditors, the people who are owing.
Yeah.
Companies, all of them, bring them here. They brought it and the debt says 110 million. I said, right, thank you very much. This is what I'm going to do, guys. Go and work up on each and every tender that you have issued at MTPA. One, I want a resolution of the board that there's going to be a tender. That resolution which says you are going to buy this. I want the committee, the specification committee which drafted the specification. I want their minutes. I want the advert of those tenders. The newspapers, clips and everything. I want the minutes of the tender board. The tender, the people who sat down to prepare for that. Tender, it was internal by that time. Yeah. Right? I want the minutes. I want the final, how this person get appointed, this company gets appointed. I want the letter of appointment and the figure how much he was going to be paid. Yeah. I want to see the service level agreement. Yeah. That you are entering with this company. Yeah. I want to see the reports, progress reports of this project as they were unfolding, all of them. Yeah. Until it was delivered. I want the closing report by the guy. Bring me all, on every creditor that was owed money by MTPA. The next meeting is Tuesday next week. Yeah. I want all those things. Then, when they left, I went and I said to the CFO, we're going to appoint 2 companies. We're going to appoint the law firm, which is going to help us. Yeah. I went to the board. I told the board, this is what we want to do. I want to appoint the law firm. I want to appoint
audit, forensic
company.
Audit. Yeah.
If I remember very well, the board didn't allow me to appoint the auditing firm. They said, no, appoint the law firm. When the law firm has given you everything, then you can then appoint the auditing firm to look at it. So I appointed the a law firm, SMA, Cylinder, Mukwena, and Associates, SMA. And then the month come, now I'm expecting them to give me that information. One of them stand and says, hey, CEO, we must thank you, man. Hey, now we know why they made you the CEO. Now listen to that. I'm being patronized now. Now we understand why they said you must become the CEO of MTPA. We've just discovered that we don't owe those people. I said, what? You have discovered that you don't owe these creditors, this 110 million? Yeah, the majority of them don't owe them. I said, why? Wow. He said, because there's no paper trail. I said, there's no paper trail, for the debts, What do you mean there's no paper trail? When those people say that we owe them money? I said, no, listen. I'm not going to put my head into the news and those companies take me to court for not paying them. No, I'm not going to accept that. So for your information, we're going to appoint a law firm and you start writing letters to all of them. I don't care whether there's a paper trail, there's no paper trail. Yeah. You're going to write the letters to all the creditors of MTPA, the people who say we owe them money. Yeah. All of them. Tell them that they've got to come and present their story so that I pay them their money to the law firm. They must come with all the documentation, the agreement, service level agreement, how much what did they do and everything to come and prove. Then if they prove that indeed we owe them, I will pay them. Don't tell me you don't owe them. You owe them. You said you owe them. You still owe them. To me, you still owe them.
Yeah. Hey.
They went. Those letters were written. The law firm came. We gave them even offices at MTPA to say, come and work from here.
Yeah.
So that I don't want to lose documents here. Come and work here.
Yeah.
So they were working. We gave them the office, the lawyers to sit there, and they're working there. Caesar, not even one creditor came to appear before those lawyers. And yet there are people who we are owing money. Yes. Not even one came.
Yeah.
Except two guys.
Yeah.
Phoned me. One was working for SABC as an anchor something.
Yeah.
I can't give you his name. One was a big personality in the soccer industry.
Okay.
The first one to phone me was the one for SABC. He phoned me. He says, I'm in Mpumalanga. I'm here to talk to you. I said, and that day in the morning.
He's late, isn't he?
Yeah, he's late, yeah. I think you know him. May his soul rest in peace.
Yeah.
And that day I left in the morning. I took my car to Springs. Because I bought my BMW at Springs, so I was servicing it there.
Yeah.
I said, look, where are you? He says, I'm in Nelspruit. He's coming from Joburg. Okay. I said, sir, you should have phoned me. I'm not in Nelspruit. I'm in Springs.
Yeah.
So why do you go to Nelspruit to come and talk to me and you don't phone me? I'm in Springs. He says, no, I'm making a U-turn. I'm coming. Then I got concerned. I said, no, man, this doesn't make sense. I started investigating. I phoned my office. They said, no, this gentleman was here with somebody. They were actually coming from holiday. They said they come from holiday in Mozambique.
Oh, okay.
So he was lying when they said he drove in the morning to go and speak to me. So indeed, he comes in Springs. There's a little shopping complex there. So he comes and he says to me, no, I'm coming to talk to you about the money. They gave me a tender for 7 point something million. They only paid me, and then there's 1.7 million outstanding. So I'm in trouble. I'm being sued. And he was right. He was being sued.
Yeah.
I said, no. Listen, my brother. I've created a process to assist people like you.
Yeah.
A law firm didn't you get the letter? He said, yes, I got the letter. I said, right, go to that law firm, go and put your story across.
Yeah.
He says, no, but I didn't tender for that job. You didn't what? You didn't tender? Yes. How did you get it? He says, no, the then CEO called me. He was at the airport. He said I must come and meet him at the airport. So I drove to the airport. He then said, look, I want you to buy screens to... It was on the eve of 2000 with the 2010
World Cup.
The World Cup.
Okay.
I must buy screens and put them at the OR Tambo to promote 2010. And then he even while I was still there, the CEO took the phone and he phoned the CFO to say he must advance me with 1.5 million. Before I start the job so that I can go and buy the screens. Now, listen to this. There's no tender. The CEO just calls him to come and meet him there. He gives him a tender verbally. The CEO takes the phone. He phones the CFO at MTPA. Write a check to so and so in advance. He's going to buy screens so that we promote 2010.
Yeah.
I said, Chief, look, that story you're telling me, it is the story you must go and tell the lawyers. No, but they won't believe. I said, no, why do you say they won't believe it? Go and tell them. They will recommend to me to say, I must pay you and I should not pay you. Please go to them. I can't, you can't start the process and turn around you undermine. I said, I can't start the process which I have started.
Yeah.
Right? The end of the story is that no one went to go and prove that we owe them money. This is how I dealt with that 110 million. The only money which was remaining now was 18 18 million. Now, let me tell you
18,
what happened
okay.
with the 18 million. Now, the only money now I must deal with is 18 million.
Yeah.
This 18 million, there is 12 million. It has got a name tag.
Okay.
MTPA had 4 security companies. 4.
Yeah.
And these 4 security companies, they were billing MTPA millions of rands. They are one of the creditors.
Yeah.
They are owed collectively 12 million.
Okay.
All right? Then I called them to my office, the 4 companies. They came to my office. I said, guys, I've just concluded an investigation. I appointed one the audit company to go to each and every park.
Yeah.
To go and count the warm bodies of securities.
guards.
Yeah, because the report is saying something which I didn't believe it. They came back, they said, I remember that guy came back and he laughed. He said, CEO, you are really cleaning MTPA. He says, guess what? We interviewed the guys who were there. We got one guy. He said there are 2 in that park.
Yeah.
In each park, they got 2. One at night, one during the day. But on paper, each park has got more than 10. Now, so it means these security companies were stealing money from Mpumalanga Park Sport. So I called them. One advantage I had, because I was a very senior politician in Mpumalanga, I must say to you, the Premier never called me to manipulate me. He didn't. The MEC didn't try and manipulate me.
Yeah.
They didn't. They respected that I was the accounting officer for the organization. They didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, and I never went to them to ask for advice. I knew what I wanted to do. I called these 4 companies, the owners, they sat down. I said, guys, I've just discovered something that you have to answer. But I'm not empowered to make you answer. It's only a court of law where you can go and answer.
Yeah.
This money, and I checked the books, they say we owe you collective to 12 million. MTP owes you 12 million collectively. Let me tell you something. I'm contesting that figure. We don't owe you money. We don't. And even the money you are receiving, you don't deserve it. You don't qualify to receive that money. So you've been stealing from MTPA. But I want to make you a favor. If I have no option to go and open a case, but I felt I must be fair with you.
Yeah.
If you opt, you agree that we cancel this security agreement with you. You take your people and you go home. I don't need them. Then I won't open a case. If you don't want me to cancel your contracts, then I have no option. I must go to court, open a case so that I can get the reason why I have to cancel them. You know, one of them says, Mr. Modipane, some of us who are working for these companies, we don't own them. Can you give us time to go and talk to our bosses? I said, thank you. With pleasure. Go and talk to your bosses. And that afternoon, I was having a meeting with the Premier to report to him that now I want to take action. So I went to the Premier. I said, Premier, I have good news for you. One, the debt, the 110 million, is not a debt, it's fictitious. They were agreeing with these people, they will give them the tenders and they were sharing the money. Lawyers. And funny enough, Caesar, the majority of them were lawyers from Eastern Cape. Lawyers, because that head of legal was one woman, a Nigerian woman who was an advocate too, who was recruited from Eastern Cape to come to Mpumalanga.
Okay.
And funny enough, all the litigations on paper,
Yeah.
they were done with lawyers from the Eastern Cape.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Very funny.
yeah.
And we owe them money. And then what they do, they go to the board and say, board, we owe Caesar 10 million, but he says if we pay him 50%, he can cancel the other 50%. And the poor board, these are not people who understand corporate things.
Yeah,
They will
just
agree.
say we are saving money,
You are saving money.
while actually...
And the board says, go ahead.
Mm.
And then,
Yeah, I'm laughing.
and then I went
just
to the
say-
premier, I said, Premier, then I told the premier about this for companies, what they've been doing, and that I want to cancel those agreements, and I'm not paying them the 12 million because it's fraudulent money. He gave me a lecture. He said, no, Mr. Modipane, Pandwagi, these are our people. I will help you get the 18 million. Or the 12, 18 minus 12, how many is 12? 6.
18 minus 12 is 6. Yes.
Yeah, the 6 was genuine. It was money owing to ESCOM,
Yeah.
money owing to Telcom,
Okay.
money owed to Vodacom and other ones,
Yeah.
money owed to the suppliers of animal food.
Okay.
I checked, it was a genuine one.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were genuine. The 6 million was genuine.
Yeah.
And I paid it. Not only that, there was another debt which was not disclosed. Money paid to the employees of MTPA.
Okay.
That money was 5.3 million, I remember.
Yeah.
It was not disclosed, that money. And one employee of MTPA came to me, says, listen, there's a debt which was not disclosed to you. I said, which debt? He says, well, they owe us money as employees. We work, they don't pay us. They say, we'll pay you later, we'll pay you later.
Also, like for overtime.
Since 2008, for overtime, for traveling and everything, they're not paying us the money. And I went to the CFO. I said, CFO, I want you to give me the name of everybody you owe in this organization.
Yeah.
All the employees who owe money, the money you were supposed to pay them and you did not pay them. I want to see that report. And he sent the report. 5.3 million was owed to the employees. I said, these employees must also be paid. Right? So 6 million, that 6 million. So the premier refused to allow me to.
Yeah.
He agreed that I can cancel the agreements
Okay.
of this,
Yeah.
but I must pay them their 12 million.
Okay.
So it was an instruction, but I said, you know what? Let me just agree. I said, but Premier, I need something in writing. He says, no, the DG will give you something in writing. That and the money is going to come from Treasury.
Okay.
So they never gave me anything in writing, but the money was transferred from Treasury into MTPA. I went to the lawyers. I said, what is the meaning of this? They don't want to give me. They said, no, the fact that the money was transferred from Treasury to come to you to pay these debts, you have evidence tomorrow. They can't turn against you.
Okay.
And the problem was going to be if there was money in MTPA and then you paid it.
Okay.
I said, thank you very much. Now, I then included the 5.3 million for the workers. Let me tell you something. I became a hero in MTPA. I called all the workers. I said, workers, I'm paying everybody we are owing money. Genuine creditors, I'm paying them. I've just discovered that some of you are owed money as the employees. They have not been paying you since 2008.
Yeah.
I got your names. The list is going to be sent to you. Look at the list, whether it's correct, the money you are owed that money. And if your name is not there, come and tell us. Go to the lawyers, our lawyers, and tell them how much. And I paid every employee to the last cent as well. I paid Telcom, I paid everybody. Overnight, the debt of MTPA was gone.
That's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the Modipane must leave MTPA now.
Rhino horns get lost today. Where
The next thing,
116 million? Yeah.
the next thing in the morning, in MTPA, even if you are a CEO,
Yeah.
you will never know where they keep the rhinos.
Okay.
The only time I knew where the rhino horns were kept was when there was a break-in. Within the complex, there is a secretive place which even the CEO must not know that there are horns coming. Now, here is what it happens. Yeah. When a rhino is poached, they must get the DNA of the horn.
Yeah.
They must get the DNA of the horn.
Yeah.
Even the rhinos who are in the private and also MTPA, the DNA are taken and we've got the database at MTPA.
Okay.
Now, I did not know the other arrangement, which is deliberate. CEOs don't operate, don't go in and deal with horns where the horns are. It's between the official who's taking the DNA.
Yeah.
You see, the samples are brought to MTPA.
Yeah.
Samples of the horns which were killed.
Yeah.
They're brought in.
Yeah.
And once the horns came in, they take the DNA, and the horns are shipped into a secret location. Okay. Nobody knows where. Even me, I didn't know where they were going until there was a break-in.
But who does that official report to? The one who's responsible for
it was a special dispensation that he must not report to the
okay.
It's a national thing. Yeah, it's a national thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So the horns, I can disclose to you, all the horns were taken to Kruger National Park. They were protected in the Kruger National Park.
Yes.
Yeah. But you will have samples of the horns when there is a case where a rhino has been killed.
Yeah.
The exhibit will be kept secretly at MTPA. Secret location, again, you will not know. Yeah. And I can tell you, even some employees in MTPA, they don't know.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah.
There was a white guy who, in his office, there's a door which goes to his toilet. The vault was in there.
Oh.
And that toilet is used by him only.
Yeah.
It's like the CEO, you've got your own toilet in your own office. It's used by you. So I didn't know that.
Okay.
I didn't know where the horns were being taken to. So they were taken there. So horns which were there to be, the DNA to be taken, are kept there in that secret office within the complex.
Yeah.
Horns which are exhibit because the courts are running.
Yeah.
Yeah. But apparently what happened on that day, horns arrived for DNA to be taken. Inside job happened. There was a break-in. There was a break-in. There's a security company there. One of the security companies there was there.
And I understand also they were kept in a vault, which
in
means
a vault.
it's not easy to...
And to cut that vault, it's not a child's play. Yeah. And they cut and they stole those horns. I got a phone call around about 5:30 in the morning to say, hey, CEO, we've got a problem. There was a stealing here. Now, the guys, when they're guarding there are points.
Yes.
They signed the document. You signed that you've gone to check on that place. You were there. During the night, you signed.
Yes.
As you move around, you signed. And they signed that they were all over, but they said they didn't hear anybody cutting the vaults.
Yeah.
They didn't hear. And in the morning, I hear that, and then the next thing I realized, I said, nah, this is the attack on me. This is me, that they want me here. You know what I did? I decided that I'm not going to talk to anybody this time.
Yeah.
I phoned the lawyers. I told them, I said, I'm just about to do something I should not be doing, but I have to do it. I suspect something here. They said, what? I said, I want to appoint a a private investigator to investigate where the butler is here. I think it's an inside job.
Yeah.
I appointed a private company. Private company came in, and these are the people who deal with the killing of our rhino hounds. Let me tell you something. They started tracing those guys. They arrested them inside Mozambique.
Inside Mozambique?
Yeah. Where the horns are delivered.
Hey.
Yeah. A kingpin in Mozambique. They arrested them at 2:00.
Yeah.
The police, when the police went in there, already the private investigators already there. The police are playing tactics. They say they're investigating.
Yeah, they come there and they don't do a job.
Yeah.
Yo.
The next thing, then I decide that, look, now let me call the board. I called the board. I think I called the board the following day.
Yeah.
Then the quorum didn't form. I managed to call the board after 3 days. The quorum could form.
Yeah.
And then they nailed me. They said, why didn't you call the board on that day? I said, I tried to call the board, but you were not forming a quorum. Some of you are not around.
Yeah.
And then the chairperson of the board started saying, I must be suspended. And she actually suspended me.
Yeah.
But the problem that she didn't do, she didn't understand the framework. She was working with some powerful people. The act says the CEO can only be suspended in consultation with the MEC.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that MEC was Pinky Post, Mrs. Pinky Post.
Mm-hmm.
She was never consulted.
Mm-hmm.
And then I briefed her. I told her that, look, this lady has suspended me, and I don't know why she's suspending me. She says, don't worry. Go to office, go and work. She cannot suspend you. That's when a company was hired. When I went to work, the following day when I went to work, I found that there's a security company waiting for me at the gate to say, sir, you cannot go into MTPA. You are suspended.
So who hired the company now?
It was hired by
the board.
No, the chairperson. Who paid? I don't know.
Yeah.
The board doesn't know anything. The chairperson. And one of the directors of MTPA.
Oh, the chairperson.
The chairperson of the board.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Somehow with arrangement underground, I think big people were involved in that. So they're there, they're waiting for me when I come to work in the morning. They block, they say, sir, you're not allowed to enter, you are suspended. I said, who suspended me? They say, the board. I said, no, the board never suspended me. The board never suspended me. So immediately while I was there, I phoned the lawyers. I said, please go to court and get an interdict. Interdict this security company which is blocking me, the CEO, to go into his office.
Yeah.
Immediately, within 45 minutes, 5 police vans were coming with a court order. They said, who are you guys? Who sent you here? Who's your boss here? They said, that's the boss. He says, boss, you take your trouble now. We give you 5 minutes, otherwise we'll put you into these 5 police vans. And then there was a guy who was working internal, who was working with the chairperson. I had suspended that guy as well.
Okay.
He was with the security companies. It was him who came to say, you cannot enter. I said, but you cannot enter because I suspended you.
Exactly.
Why are you coming? He says, no. That suspension is not working. It's you who must be suspended. I said, okay, we'll see. Also, there was a what do you call it? What am I looking for now? I'm getting tired. There was an interdict.
Yeah.
For him. So they served them the interdict. They went. the MEC suspends the chairperson of the board.
Of the board, yeah.
Yeah, for suspending me without following the procedure.
Yeah.
So I go into my office. It's fine. I continue working.
But now, just to take you back, the horns are stolen. There were security companies that you kept, and there was a problem with their payments. So it was still the same security companies.
I think it was an interim.
Oh, okay.
I think in the interim we appointed some.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we appointed a few of them.
Okay.
But not those four.
Not those four.
No, not those four.
Okay.
Yeah, because we had to get others.
Okay.
And then we got experts to come and test whether it is possible within the complex. Somebody comes to drill there, and the company said, no. Your security is part of this.
There's no way they could not have heard or saw somebody coming in.
No, there's no way.
Yeah.
They hate it. Yeah. Right? So that's what happened. And then now, the chairperson tried and she gets suspended herself. 2 days later, after she's suspended by the MEC, she calls a board meeting. She's there. Hey. I take the phone and get the lawyer. Say, hey, give me immediately go to court and get an interdict. I must interdict this woman. I interdicted the chairperson of the board who suspended to get out of the complex. They come and they say, get out of here. Can you see the drama? Can you see the drama?
And things are being done haphazardly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You won't believe that the government can do things like this.
You
won't believe it. And the next thing I run where we go in is fighting. The premier decide that the board was divided into two. There were those who were pro me. There were those who were against me.
Yeah.
And they are fighting among themselves. So the premier fired the whole board. He appointed a new board. Now, the new board has people who are not prepared to be corrupt. One of the people who was appointed as a deputy chairperson of the board, who played a very critical role, who saved me, was Dr. David Mabunda. Dr. David Mabunda, for some reason, he got appointed in that new board.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, one day I'm sitting in the office. My PA says, now the new board is in.
Yeah.
Lubisi was the chairperson of that board.
Yeah.
William Lubisi.
Yeah.
The chairperson my PA says, sir, do we have a board meeting today? I said, no, we don't have a board. He says, no, sir, I see board members are filing into the executive boardroom. I said, board members? I said, no, go investigate. I said, no, we don't have a board meeting. You know that it's us who arranged for the board meeting.
Yeah,
we prepared the documentation and so everything. No, there's no board meeting. So she went. When she came back, she said, sir, I don't know what's going on. I just spoke to the chairperson. The chairperson says, no, yes, there's a board meeting, but tell the CEO he must not come to the board meeting. I never called the board it must be convened by me as a CEO.
Sure.
Because we prepared the documentation, the reports and everything so that the board can go sit down there. I briefed them so that they discuss the agenda on the board. She comes and says, I spoke to the chairperson. He says, no, I'm having a special board meeting. The MEC is coming, but he's asking you not to come, but you must stay in your office, don't leave. I said to my PA, Celia, I'm fired. I just said to her, Celia, I'm fired. So I'm stuck in my office now.
Yeah.
2.5 later, 2 board members come in my office. Dr. Mabunda and Mr. Krogiet, who was coming from the business. It's one of the board members who said, Modipane is doing a good job. I'm not going to be part and parcel of getting Modipane out of this thing.
Yeah.
And Mabuza. Then they sit down. Then I sit down. They said, Mabunda is asking me a question. Dr. Mabunda says, Mr. Modipane, what is going on? I said, but Dr. Mabunda, you are coming to me to tell me a story. Why are you coming to tell? He says, no, I want to know what's going on because we don't understand what is going on. I said, what is going on? He says, do you know why we're here? I said, no. We're here because we've been sent to you to come and tell you to resign from MTPA. The MEC was with us there. He says we must come and tell you to resign. They'll give you a settlement agreement to leave MTPA. They no longer like your face. It's all of a sudden just turned out ugly. You are very ugly, so you must leave. And you have done a good job. They said, we asked, they said, but this man has done a good job, guys. Why do you get him out? They says, no, it's political.
Yo.
They tell us it's political. That's why we're asking you what is going on. I said, well, I don't know, gentlemen. How are they going to write a settlement? This is no, the settlement, they say we'll give it to you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. So meaning the settlement was long drafted.
It's already drafted.
Yeah. It says they've mandated me to say that when the settlement is ready, tomorrow before 10 o'clock, by 10 o'clock, I'll come and give you the settlement agreement so that you can look at it.
Yo.
But you owe us an explanation. What is going on? I said, no, I don't know what is going on. Mm-hmm. So I take, and then indeed, Mabunda was there before 10 o'clock actually, with a settlement agreement. Yeah. And the settlement agreement is well drafted. Thank you very much for the good job. You have done very well. But we've decided that we must part company with you. We'll pay you the remainder of your contract. I was only 2 years in the MTPA.
So you had signed the one for 5
years. So we're going to pay you for the remainder of that settlement. They even wrote the figure, the 5.3 million. We're going to pay you the remainder of your contract, which is 5.3 million. Yeah. Then I said, how are they going to pay me 5.3 million? Because government, when they discharge you and you've not done anything, the maximum the treasurer can allow is 24 months.
Yeah.
You can't be paid more than that. But government will do that.
Yeah.
No. Even others, they used to call it. They were given a golden handshake.
Handshake. Yeah.
So I go to my lawyers. They says, no, don't worry, Mr. Modipane. There is something they call a golden handshake. So this is going to be your golden handshake.
Take it.
Yeah. They said, look, these people don't want you there.
Yeah.
They employed you. They said they don't want you. You are lucky because they say in writing that they will pay you the remainder of your contract. 5.3 million. So
you just leave.
I packed my things. It was on a Friday. I packed my things. I left.
Yeah.
Monday, I got a phone call from the chairperson of the new board. No, it is Lubisi. No, the premier has just phoned me. He says he must go back to the office. I must do what? Go back to the office. To do what now? No, you are still a CEO. But I've got a settlement agreement here. No, that settlement agreement is not yet signed by me as a chairperson. I said, chairperson, I don't care whether you signed it or you didn't sign it. I have a settlement agreement.
Yeah, accepted it.
I've accepted it and I've signed it. I want to come and give it to you. No, he says he must go back to the office. I go to the lawyer, my lawyers, I said, my lawyers, here is what they say. They say I must go back to the office. They say, the choice is yours. But if you go back, they're planning another stratagem against you. They're going to hit you hard. They realize they made a mistake. Mm-hmm. But we will advise you, hold on to the settlement agreement. The fact that they haven't signed it, it's not an issue. You have a settlement agreement.
Yeah.
So I don't go back to the office. I said, no, I'm not going. Because they sent the car to bring the settlement agreement in my house, and I got it and I took it. I sent it to my lawyers in Pretoria. And that's it. I refused to go back. Month end, salary comes in from MTPA.
Okay. I
phoned my lawyers. I say, hey, the guys, MTP has paid me. What do I do? They says, no. We'll write them a letter. That money, we'll send it back to them.
Yeah.
Just put it in a separate account. We'll tell you which account to put. It will come into our trust.
Yeah.
They write to them. They say, look, you erroneously paid our client. He's no longer working for you. They write back. The lawyers of government write back. They says, no. Modipane is still our employee. They phone and say, these people say you're still their employee. I said, no.
But is the settlement, have you sent it back? The sent?
No, I didn't send it back.
Okay.
No, it's our evidence.
Oh.
So the lawyer says, if you dare go back, they've got a plan against you. This time you're not going to escape. So I don't go back. It is October. Salary comes in. November salary comes in.
You always
December salary. I'm not at work. I'm staying at home, but I'm getting a salary.
So you put it to the trust account.
Then the lawyer says, "Listen, that money, use that money to pay for your legal fees."
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the right time comes, when they pay you, you'll take that money, and you pay them because I didn't have money to pay the legal fees. He says, "No, use that money."
Yeah.
Yeah, because they keep on paying.
Yeah.
They repeated the exercise until June 2015.
So how many months? 8.
It must be October, November,
December,
January,
9 months.
February. Yeah, 9 months. They pay me.
Hey.
Yeah. Then one day, I remember it was on a Saturday. I get a phone call. For the first time, the premier is phoning me.
Yeah.
The chairperson was with me here. No, the chairperson is sitting with me here.
Yeah.
The board is asking that we settle this matter because they could not respond to our letter of demand.
Yeah.
They tried to respond and they armed us. The lawyers laughed and said, "Hey, this is going to be very interesting." They tried to respond to our letter,
but they are arming you.
But they are arming us.
Yeah.
We are armed now.
Yeah.
Then they took. What they did, they took this matter to a senior counsel in Pretoria. Senior counsel said, "Guys, you have soiled your pens.
Yeah.
You have soiled your pens. There is no way you're going to win this case. Negotiate an out-of-court settlement."
Yeah.
The premier is phoning me. The chairperson is saying, "Can't you consider settling this matter out of court?" I said, "Out of court, eh?" I said, "Well, don't give me that proposal. You know my lawyers. Tell him to write to my lawyers."
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not talking about it.
Yeah.
I'm not batching. Yeah. I'm not batching. I have lawyers.
Yeah.
Talk to my lawyers. So that's how it ended. They went to the lawyers to say, "We want out-of-court settlement." They said, "Right. What about the money?" "No, the money, treasurer says we can't pay him that money."
Yeah. Yeah.
So the money they've given me up to June, it's legitimate salary.
Yeah.
So they're not going to take it back.
Yeah. So now they're renegotiating.
They're now negotiating that they will pay me 24 months so that I go. The lawyer said, "No, look, we can't discuss this with you on the phone. There are a number of options here. Come to Pretoria." So I went to Pretoria. They sat down. They said, "Hey, listen, let's tell you what's going to happen here." They said Treasury refused to pay the 5.3 million. They say the maximum they can pay is 24 months. Treasury says 24 months.
Yeah.
He who's asking you to leave, because they say you've not done anything wrong. The treasurer says, "Why do we pay him 5.3 million when he has not done anything?"
Yeah.
He who wants him to leave must pay him the balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pay him the balance. So they can't pay the balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the lawyer says to me, "Listen, you can proceed with this case. It continues eating in your pocket."
Yeah.
And they're using state money.
Oh, yeah.
In any case, if they pay you this 24 months, you'll have a little bit of money. They're not going to say pay the money from October up to now. Because they say it is a legitimate salary.
Yeah, so it's more or less they're paying for 3 years or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost.
So it has eaten into the 3 years. In fact, a part of the 3 years they've paid you already.
Yeah.
So our advice is that consider taking this out of court settlement. You can't fight your own government. We don't want to mislead you.
Yeah.
We can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how I accepted the out of court settlement. And I was paid 24 months. And that's how I left MTPA.
Yeah. For doing nothing, for cleaning it up.
Yeah, for cleaning. And I cleaned it. I really cleaned it.
Yeah.
It was, in fact, everybody's saying, we don't know how you did it. You know, I remember one day I received a delegation of scientists at MTPA.
Yeah.
Those scientists, majority of them, I think all of them, they were white.
Yeah.
They wanted to see me in my office. They said, but CEO, we just want to ask you a question. How did you achieve this, what you have done here? Because no CEO has done what you have done. How did you achieve it? I said, when you do something that you believe you are right, those who know that they are not right, they will not confront you.
Yeah.
Because they know they are not right. They know that you are wrong.
Yeah.
You are right and they are wrong.
Yeah.
And they know that you are not scared of them. Because I didn't beg that job. I never wanted that job. I was forced into it.
You were approached to take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now you found what, 1.2 billion lawsuit against partly against the MTPA. I think the bulk of the claim was against the MTPA and other government departments by Fred Daniels.
Right.
You found the case there, right? When
I found that case was there. When I went in there, as they were briefing me, they were briefing. Then they briefed me about a case which started in 2008, still writing of MTPA. Well, I said, all right. So what is going on now? They said, no, the case is still going on. I said, give me all the files on the case. They said, sir, the files were taken a week before you came here.
Okay.
They took all the files about Fred Daniels' case. They removed every file except progress. But progress report and payment to of the lawyers who have handled that case is still done by MTPA. The progress reports are still going. But the core documents were taken away from MTPA before I landed there as a CEO.
Yeah.
But the reports would come to me about the progress of the report. I'll read the report. Those reports won't serve into the board unless they have my signature as a CEO.
Yeah.
So I'll write the report where I don't understand. I ask them, so they corroborate. So I have to sign it so that the reports can go to the board. The board, some board members knew about it.
Okay.
And then fast forward. After I've left MTPA now, one day, while I'm still there, one day, immediately after I become the CEO, I get a phone call from one guy called Fred Daniel. He says, no, my name is Fred Daniel. I knew the name.
Yeah.
I've got a case with MTPA about land grab, and the case is in court.
Yeah.
Because you're a new CEO, I want to come and talk to you. I said, okay, no, that's fine. So I gave him a date. So I called the meeting again. I asked these guys, I'm asking you to scramble for any paper that you can find about this case.
Yeah.
Fred Daniel has phoned me. He has asked for a meeting and he's coming on this date and all of us must be there.
Yeah.
Right? And I want somebody people who can come and brief me about this in detail. Who comes in? One, Jan Meller, and the one I suspended who I later suspended, Beki Malaza.
Yeah.
So after I fired the executive manager for legal, Beki Malaza was appointed as the acting in the legal. Because he was studying some law degree. Now, and then they come in my office. When they come in my office there, this young Miller start briefing me, sir, no, don't allow this Fred Daniel to come and see you. He's a racist. This guy he has taken the land which belongs to black people. This guy, he has brought illegal exotic animals without permits. This guy is just a bad guy. My advice is that don't talk to this guy, because this guy is a very difficult guy. He's a bad guy. So I said to him, Mr. Miller, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I'm the CEO of MTPA. I speak to anybody. Don't worry about the guy, whether the guy is bad or evil or what. I'm going to meet him and listen to him. It's incumbent on me to do that. So please don't do that. Tell me what you know about this case. No, this case, in any case, the documents are with the Premier. There's not even a single document which is here. We can't tell you, but we can only tell you that this case has been running in, and it is a case which made your predecessor, Charles Ndabeni, to be removed because he was beginning to have some kind of relationship with Fred Daniel, and that's why he was removed. I said, well, I'm sorry. If he was removed because he was listening to Fred Daniel, who's one of the South Africans who's coming up with a proposal, it's fine. I'm going to talk to him. And I want you to be part of that meeting. I've already given you this date. You must be there.
Yeah.
When the date comes, Fred Daniel comes, Jan Miller was nowhere to be found. He disappeared. Fred Daniel came with documents. The documents because I told him, Fred, I don't have documents.
Yeah.
If you have documents, please share with me. So he came with documents.
Yeah.
He gave me the documents and I started reading those documents. I then understood where the problem was.
Yeah.
Sizwe, let me close this matter by saying to you, Fred Daniel, had they listened to Fred Daniel, Mpumalanga Park Sport would be leading the country on tourism. Fred Daniel went out, he came up with a document which was exactly fitting into the strategy of tourism in Mpumalanga, in South Africa. Well-researched document, well-referenced. Unfortunately, and Fred Daniel, unfortunately, somebody decided that, no, he cannot do what he wants to do. Fred Daniel tells a story about him being cajoled, saying that if you work with us, you give us shares, this will go through, and he refused.
Yeah.
And the next thing, the communities who some of them were owning some of the land which was restituted, which was going to be restituted to those people. They woke up in the morning and they started banning everything, offices, everything, farms, cutting fences and everything. And that case is running. Yeah. So Fred Daniel is briefing me. After reading his documents, I called this guy. I said, guys, you listen to Fred Daniel. What are you saying? And the executive managers, 3 of them, they said, sir, we don't know what you're going to do, but if you take a decision that we start working with Fred Daniel, you would have saved MTPA. Fred Daniel is coming with the best approach, and he has found the money from the investors or from overseas. And our job is just to reap the benefits as MTPA and the people. Saying to me that they didn't agree with what was going on, why Fred Daniel was not.
Yeah.
So after I left, then I got a phone call from the lawyers of Fred Daniel. Hey, listen, we want the CEOs who are working there, 2 of you. We want Charles Ndabeni and you to go to court to go and give evidence. I said to them, but look, what evidence am I going to court? Because I never dealt with that case.
Yeah.
I only know the briefing that Fred Daniel gave me.
Yeah.
And so this is, no, we want that. Your opinion on what opinion you formulated about this was very important. So we're going to subpoena you. You have no choice, whether you like it or not. with subpoena to? I said, well, it's okay. I'll talk to my lawyers and ask. So I went to talk to my lawyers, and the lawyer says, how do you feel about it? I said, look, I don't have a problem with going to court and tell the story how I found the situation. And I found it very disturbing because had we went into partnership with Fred Daniel, MTPA would be far by now. And finally, I went to court, and exactly what I told him, I told the court. I said, court, I don't know what was going on. I read those documents, and I can confess, I can put on record that Fred Daniel's initiative was a game changer. I don't know why they didn't want to take it. Actually, nobody can take the land which is restituted. Nobody. If Fred Daniel went and he bought land which was already under restitution, he was not going to get that land in any case. But at the end of the day, that land, nobody can take the land and use it for cattle grazing. The land, in terms of the national framework, that land must be used for tourism, nothing else. So Fred Daniel was ahead of the story. You got the investors, and the only thing is that the beneficiaries of that land were going to get royalties from their own land and the transfer of skills. So I don't know why anybody is blocking him. That case is still running even today.
It's still running?
Yeah.
We understand it's going to conclusion.
And then I was then getting phone calls. I got a phone call just before I go in.
Yeah.
The first phone call I got was was coming from the guy who followed me as a CEO, but he was no longer there. He says, I understand that you are going to give evidence in court to support Fred Daniel. I said, nah, I'm not going to court to support Daniel.
Yeah.
I am subpoenaed by the lawyers of Fred Daniel. And the subpoena is coming from court. I can't say no.
Yeah.
I'm going to go there to give evidence about what I know. Yeah, but you cannot go in there to go and give evidence which will support Fred Daniel, because Fred Daniel, I tried to work with him. He's a racist. He's a bad guy, and you cannot give evidence against the leaders of the ANC. I said, Chief, I'm not going to give evidence against the leaders of the ANC. I'm going to tell the court what I know. And I can't lie to court. I will tell to court what I know and what opinion I formulated. And there's nothing I can do. I am subpoenaed.
Yeah.
And then we parted company. The following morning, a friend of mine phoned me, says, I understand somebody, you're going to give evidence. No, he says, I want to come and see you today in the afternoon. I said, no, I'm not around. He says, where are you? I said, no, I'm not around. It's not enough to tell me where I am. And I know that guy is a friend of one of the powerful guys.
Oh.
Yeah. He wanted me to say, I'm in court in the case of Fred Daniel, so that he can say, please don't do it.
Yeah.
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 So, and then in court, I had to place it on record to say, I was intimidated last night. Even this morning, I suspect that the person who phoned in the morning wanted to persuade you not to give evidence.
Yeah.
I'm worried about this intimidation because the guy who phoned me, he's doing this on behalf of the person who is fighting with Fred Daniel.
Yeah.
And in Mpumalanga, people get killed. They may be killed. So I'm putting this on record in court so that if I get killed, you should know who is responsible for my death. So that is exactly what happened.
Okay. Probably in the list of all the mishaps, the plots, conspiracies against you, is the latest one. I wouldn't say it's the last one.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
There are powerful and cruel people who have smuggled themselves into the ANC. And I reuse the way that they have smuggled themselves.
Yeah.
You know, anybody can smuggle himself into any organization pretending that they sing your slogans, they wear your T-shirts, they speak fluent politics. Some of them, they have impeccable revolutionary credentials.
Yeah.
People who were killed in Mpumalanga, they were leaders in the ANC. Jimmy Motlhala. Semi Mpatlanyana was one of the officials in Mpumalanga. Solizano was poisoned. Many people were gunned down in Mpumalanga.
Yeah.
And those people who smuggled themselves into the ANC, and they're called leaders, are killing us today.
Exactly. And the
ANC, just to qualify this, the ANC has the best revolutionaries, the best patriots, people who will die for this country, people who will die for the people of South Africa. They are there in the ANC. Like you can find them in all political parties. They are there. But I'm sorry, the organization is hijacked by criminal elements, corrupt elements. You have to go and read Zondo Commission's report.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's why some of us, we live in fear even now.
Yeah.
So that's why it's very important for me to record what I'm recording, so that if I die, the world should know who killed me and why I was killed.
Yeah. And, okay, I get your feeling about it as somebody who really dedicated your whole life to the ANC, basically from when you lost your youth to the ANC and your adulthood as well. What now? There's a GNU, the ANC support is dwindling. Where do you see the ANC in future?
Well, let me say this. The GNU is a reality of South Africa. The GNU is here because of corruption within the ANC. That's why we have the GNU. And you can criticize the DA, you can hate the DA you want. DA didn't take themselves into the GNA. We invited DA because of our corruption.
Yeah.
People of South Africa got tired and sick and tired and said, this organization liberated us, but it has been hijacked by criminal elements.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you knew what you know now, when you were 14,
I would not have joined the ANC.
Yeah.
If I knew, if ANC that I joined when I was 17 years old, when I went into the underground, if I knew that ANC was like that, I would not have joined it. For information, when I joined the ANC, when I joined the struggle, I was not joining the ANC.
Yes.
I wanted to fight on behalf of my country.
Yes.
I joined because of the undying love I have for my country and my people.
Yeah, of course.
And the most relevant organization by that time, because of great leaders like Mandela, like Chris Hani, Joe Slovo and everything. These were the patriots, people who were prepared to die for the country, who went to jail. They were assassinated. Later, they were assassinated. That's why I joined the ANC.
Yeah.
And the policies of the ANC, well, by that time, I didn't know what this thing you call policy, what it is.
Yeah.
But I was attracted by the message of the ANC and the type of leadership which were there in the ANC and the history that the ANC had. But I wanted to liberate my country and my people. Now, I knew that one day ANC may be hijacked by criminal elements. And I said, the moment I realized that the ANC is hijacked by criminal elements, I will leave the ANC. Because I never went to the struggle because I loved a political organization. I went there because I wanted to liberate my country and my people. But if one day it should happen that the ANC get hijacked by criminal elements, I will leave the ANC. Right? So, with all the experience I have, with all the knowledge I have, the province, since they fired me, they have never given me a role to play. And I'm not complaining. They are the leaders of today. I'm not complaining. I'm not.
But as you said, there was a campaign to remove all the people who fought internally.
Yes. Yeah.
Who fought for the
Yeah.
liberation.
Actually, the citation is that anyone who is against corruption, who must make it a point, they go. That was happening in Mpumalanga. And they did that. You know, there's one guy, one comrade, when I think about him, I cry tears. Johannes Kashabango.
Yeah.
This young man, if his story is told, one day you must interview him. He went to exile, he became a soldier, he came into the country, he was arrested and sentenced to hang with his comrades.
Yeah.
On the night, the day before they were going to be hanged, they got their grave numbers.
Yes.
On the 11th hour, they were given clemency by the president. Their sentence to go and hang was commuted into life imprisonment. And that young man, he was sidelined and he left earlier than all of us because he saw it coming.
Yeah.
At some stage, he was a national organizer of the ANC. Up to this day, he's starving out there. He doesn't have a job. And no one is thinking about him and give him a deployment which will put food on his table.
Yeah.
They fired me in 2014.
Yeah.
But he left far before that. Everybody knows about him, but there's nobody who's prepared to empower the guy, send the guy to school. Let him play a role in the boards. He has got skills. He has got the skill. He can go to the board. He can be anything. But no, he's thrown out there. And he's one of many thousands and thousands and thousands. Do you know that many of MK soldiers who went and fought war, many of them are busy committing suicide because they can't survive.
Yeah.
They're busy committing suicide.
It's a sad story.
Yeah.
It's a sad story.
I mean, the leadership, the core leaders of the ANC, they're no longer there in the ANC. The ANC that we're talking about, money has got into the ANC. People get bought to be voted into the ANC. You can buy a seat in the ANC conference if you have got money. But if you've got money, you're not going to go in there. That generation, those who left the country to go to exile to fight, those who went to prison, some escaped the noose of the hangman, those who remained inside the country to face the lion, that generation, they're there. Some of them, they tried to paint us with corruption while they knew we're not corrupt. Zondo Commission never cited me that I'm one of the people who were corrupt. They didn't cite Thabo Mbeki. They didn't cite Joel Netshitenda. They didn't cite many comrades. But those people are not in the ANC. Even if you can go to a conference, those who have got money, they will not allow you to go in.
Yeah.
So, you want to ask me about GNU? Whether I like it or I don't like it, it's a reality in South Africa. Created by those who stole honesty from the ANC.
Yeah.
It's a reality.
Yeah, I do get you.
Some people are celebrating, they say, look, because of the DA, today we have escaped another increase of the VAT. That's what they're saying.
So do you think there's a comeback for the ANC from this dwindling support?
Well, you are asking me a hypothetical question. And it says, I can only respond by speculating. I am bleeding inside. I'm like you, like any other South African. I'm crying over the ANC, which was the pride of the people of South Africa, the pride of the African continent, the pride of our ancestors. You know, when I remember how my parents used to love the ANC, I don't know what's going to happen. Unfortunately, in politics, there's nothing called miracles.
Yeah.
There's no miracle in politics. Yeah. People are angry. You go to the village, my village, people will tell you, how must we vote? I said, you must vote according to what you want. But me, I'm still a member of the ANC. I tell them, I'm going to vote for the ANC because I'm still a member. They say, you're going to vote for the ANC, but they expelled you. You're no longer there. I said, no, I was not expelled. It is democracy.
It's democracy.
We've got other leaders in there.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So you have to answer people political. Don't be reckless about it.
Yeah.
So that question, nobody in South Africa can answer it. Yeah, you've got what we call the so-called analysts.
Yeah.
Who want to play God. This is going to happen. This is not going to happen. And everything. They're like witch doctors. They will tell you what's going to happen. When it doesn't happen, they'll tell you the reason why it didn't happen. They're like economists. They'll tell you why it didn't happen, and so on. So nobody knows what is going to happen. I wish the ANC can redeem itself. And I wish somebody can ask me, how do we redeem the ANC? Unfortunately, my branch doesn't want me there. It doesn't want me there. They don't want me in that branch. Because if they were to ask me to make a proposal about the so-called renewal, I will say to them, don't go and re-educate people about the history of the ANC. I know the history of the ANC. You can't re-educate me.
For sure.
South Africans know about the history of the revolution. It is their revolution. You can't re-educate me.
That's what I'm feeling, that the youth is getting tired of this thing, because it's a regurgitation
you can't.
Of that.
You know, I once asked somebody, he's a lawyer. I said, Mr. Lawyer, let me ask you a simple question. When did you pass your qualification? When did you complete at the university? He said I completed in 1970 something. I said, have you forgotten what they taught you at law school? He says no. I said, if the university can say we're recalling you to university to come and re-educated about your profession, will you go there to be re-educated? Because the renewal that the ANC need to do is what they did in 1969 at Morogoro in Tanzania. Morogoro conference. They said the ANC is compromised. Let us call it a special conference. It's called it a consultative conference. And then they identified key people. Don't call a conference of the ANC, because you know that those people are going to use money to undermine that conference. Call a consultative conference of key people from the provinces. You know the people who build the ANC. We are still alive. We're there. Say Mpumalanga want this number, Limpopo want this number, Free State want this number. And then you come together. You then nullify. You cancel the NEC. You cancel all the branches. You say, you comrades, you build the ANC, and you don't have on record the fact that you are corrupt. Can we sit down and say, how can we rebuild the ANC? Those comrades who are still alive, protected from money, they'll be able to say, this is what we need to do. And then we become strict now. Now we steal from what is his name? The Cuban revolutionary, Fidel Castro.
Yeah.
Fidel Castro, every year in a conference, he fires people who are no longer relevant to the revolutionary party.
Yeah.
And you say, when you say everybody come, and Mbeki is saying that.
Yeah.
He said that we must call it. We need a process to implement what Mbeki is talking about.
Yeah.
Right? And that process needs people who can still be trusted, who build the ANC. Not people who emerged in 1990 because it became fashionable to be a leader of the ANC.
Yeah.
Some of the people who were spies who managed to smuggle themselves because of the so-called amnesty.
Yeah.
While they were in our ranks, we got to know because the files were there. In fact, in 1993, I was given a file.
Yeah.
A file which explained one of us was a spy. I read it in 1993. And that person became one of the MECs. You see.
Yeah, okay.
So GNU is a reality, and now, as we're talking now, there is no strategy to escape GNU. And let me tell you something. Watch what is going to happen in local government elections. Watch. People are so despondent, people are disappointed, they are angry, and so on. And when you try to say to them, no, things will be right, they said, things will be right. You were expelled yourself, you're no longer there. Things will be right. You try to talk about democracy, they says, no, I'm not a child. You were removed.
Yeah.
Because you could not support corruption. So, I'm still a member of the ANC. I wish I could be given the opportunity to make a contribution. But it's bad.
Yeah.
You go to the branch there, you can see that one branch man, one attempt where they tried to put me into the list to go to parliament. They put my name in there. One member in that meeting stood up, he took the paper and
he tore it. Yeah.
And everybody will look at you and say, but what is going on? Why is he cheering the papers? And then one guy went and asked him, the meeting was disrupted. He says, as long as you put Jacques Modipane in this list, it's not going to fly. And then one of them came to me and says, Chief, my advice, don't attend this branch. They're going to kill you in the meeting.
Yeah.
I never went into that branch meeting up to this date. I tried to report to the ANC. Nobody listened.
Yeah.
I even wrote a letter. Nobody listened.
Yeah.
So that is the story about Mpumalanga. I just given you a tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, it's not concluded.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that we've spoken to you 3 times already.
Yeah.
In 3 segments, actually, of this interview.
And what I've said here is a reality. Anybody can take me to court. I'm going to put it as I put it. And in fact, in court, it's going to be worse. I'll reveal more.
Yeah.
You see?
No, they should take you, not me.
But you see, Sizwe, there are people who sacrifice.
Yeah, I think we need to thank you. For coming, but we're going to definitely invite you again after a couple of months because the story is unfinished. Really, there's quite a lot of gaps here and there that we need to close. But it's been a very fruitful discussion.